Who are you? Experience is the greatest teacher, though you can learn a lot from a dummy. David Hawkins. Was I doomed since birth? At the age of 14, I was in a fast and furious high-speed chase with my mother that took place in Chicago on 103rd and Wentworth. We were riding slick at the time. It was me, my mother, my sister, and my mother's male friend, all in a 1990 midnight green Mercury Cougar. It was beyond real and a big eye-opener. The chase started when the police saw me parked on 103rd Street, across from the liquor store, and pointed east as we started to pull off. They were headed west on 103rd and then busted a U-turn right before Wentworth. I had already put the pedal to the metal flying up 103rd Street. We had to hit the brakes fast and busted a right going south up State Street, accelerating again until we made it to 106th Street. Then I busted a left and went 2 short blocks to get to Michigan Street, trying my best to skedaddle and outrun them. When I got to Michigan Street, traffic was clear. The police went on my tail enough to scare me. We ducked down the hill, then we hit a couple more blocks. I finally was giving the police a Mortal Kombat fatality finish move. We were cutting through alleyways and going so fast that our heads were literally hitting the roof of the car. I hit that T-alley, did a swerve turn so the police could not get past, and we bailed out of the car, all of us going in different directions. Me and Sis in one direction, and Mama and her friend in another. What could possibly be going on in a 14-year-old mind at this point? Regardless of a spiritual or emotional standpoint, you gotta be able to think on your toes. Luckily, Mama didn't get caught. Mama said she was so scared she didn't know how she got over the fence that quick with a 12-pack of Miller Genuine Draft in her hand. She also had black boots on and a black vest that swung open like a cape. Mama was able to hide quickly enough in a nearby yard because the police were about 10 seconds behind and were now on their feet. Neither did her friend get caught because he was able to blend in with the neighborhood, mainly because he did not look like a threat being on crutches. Sis and I had hit like 4 gangways. I was steadily running back a bit, trying to help her, telling her, "Hurry up, come on, sis." We soon got caught. Didn't know at the time my sister was pregnant with my first nephew, Jaquan, and that was the reason she was running funny, holding the side of her pants and couldn't keep up. Cook County ain't nothing nice. The court system put me through hell for operating a stolen motor vehicle. Trouble is easy to get into and hard to get out. This was a trickle effect of negative events. Not only was I in trouble with the law, but I got kicked out of high school for fighting with the guy who stole the car from a teacher and I took it from him. Crazy, right? Was I doomed since birth, or was it me letting someone else dictate my imagination? These were the negative images that would be replaying in my head over and over again as I made that reality more real. I was born and raised on the south side of Chicago. It was always fun at first. My older cousins would teach me karate without a karate school. On a good day, I can still go on one leg about half a block. It was always something to do, even if it was boring. We used to go to what was called the prairie in the back of the condos, Pullman Wheel Works, to catch snakes. This was back in the day when the condos had glass doors in the front and back of the building. Back in the day, trying to keep a positive view for a long period just didn't work out. I used to hustle for change what was called Food Basket on 103rd under the tracks by the first gas station going west, asking people did they need any help with their bags. That made me sound older than a son of a gun, though showing the ingenuity and entrepreneurship in me at a young age. Me and some of the bros, Virgil and Bouquet, rest up Curtis Gibson, just to name a few, would work on each other's bikes and build go-karts. Sometimes watching little Junior flip the block up, meaning flip from one end of a block to the other end of that block. Everything was cool until we moved to the Inglewood area, the low end. On 68, though, it is technically still the south side. Going through so much, those negative thoughts got deep-seated. And you start to really believe you could never be put here for greatness and have an abundance of wealth and resources at your fingertips. Let me tell you, there could be nothing further away from the truth. Once you learn about your inner success wave inside of you and what it is capable of, you will be convinced using it really works. I used to ask myself, am I being punished for a reason I don't know? I've told my mom in the past I didn't ask to be born because of the lack of resources. When you consider how many family members I have lost over the years, especially elaborating on the loved ones lost due to gun violence in Chicago, then you will understand my pain. Grade school is the worst. Transfer from the South Side School, Wendell Smith 6th grade. Miss Hart to Mr. Lillard at O'Toole 6th grade middle school in the Inglewood area. My teacher so-called accidentally bust my head. We were playing softball. As I'm running and jumping in the air, this teacher, Mr. Lillard, knocks me out of the air. I go down first, then sliding across the concrete and busting my head to the white meat on one of the poles to the metal fence. 2 weeks before this incident, I had a teacher-parent conference because of a fight, and he was already talking slick to my mother. So as the real guy that I am at the age of 11 years old, I walked off and out of the building. On another note, other kids can really be mean. And that will help enhance those negative mental images you are already battling. Fast forward 1 year, 7th grade at Anderson Academy, me and an old friend came up with a flipping team at our middle school, 7th and 8th graders only. The school provided us with some cool blue and white jogging outfits that matched their logo and theme, the Anderson Academy Bulldogs. So we would tumble during halftime at the basketball games. That being the brightest of things, now let's see where things start to take a turn. I started getting into a lot of fights living in the Inglewood area. A few of those guys liked me, but most didn't. Those guys could not stand me so much they killed my first dog, a family dog named Kiwi. It was a neighborhood dude that was good at taking care of dogs. You would always see him with multiple dogs or puppies. He was a little younger than me, but seemed like he was cool. What did I do? I ended up letting him watch my dog Kiwi. He was only supposed to watch Kiwi for a day. When it was the second day and it seemed as if the dog watcher was dodging me, I knew something was up. When I saw him, he was with his parents as they were hurrying out of the rain to get into the house. He said, "They killed your dog." He was looking scared, not knowing what my reaction would be. I didn't want to believe Kiwi was dead. "Where is he? Where'd they put him?" I asked. He said, "In the garbage can in the alley," as he hurried to close the door as if he was in trouble with his parents. As if I cared, right? I did not know which alley out of the 4 alleys. It started to pour down raining as I was searching the garbage cans of each alley. I finally found Kiwi after about an hour, now drenched and cold. As I lifted the garbage can top, the first thing I saw was his head and a beat-up double Dutch rope around his neck as he sat upright with his body bruised in between other trash. Kiwi's eyes were open, pointed in my direction as if he was telling me, "You let this happen. It was all my fault for letting this goofball, bitch-made-ass nigga watch my dog. Even if I knew he was good at watching dogs. You must watch whom you allow in any circle you participate in. When you think about it, sounds like those guys set that up from Jump Street. Yeah, man, ask him, can you watch his dog? It is cool, though. First time, shame on you. Second time, shame on me. First, let's say I'm no stranger to being outnumbered. I've been jumped on by guys being in the wrong place at the wrong time, all this stemming from me being a product of those different environments. It was so bad my mother would ask me, was that area all right before we moved there? Some people say my mother wasn't setting the best example for her kids. Let me tell you, the decisions she made, along with my decisions, have gotten me to a place in my life that I enjoy. Having lived in so many different places around Chicago, you have a small tendency to grow callous to certain people and environments. It also showed me different versions of how people thought and valued money differently. Overall, not having that financial literacy and guidance on how to maneuver the ways of the world. Thankfully, from moving around a lot, I was able to see different economical viewpoints. Even had the pleasure of getting scammed by a person that uses the deep net. So I was told by my FICO, stay on top of your credit. If you know what you're doing with it, you can work magic. Back to the story. It is ultimately how you view the world. You will value and have more of an appreciation for life itself by not having things handed to you on a platter. Why was I angry most of the time and felt like I was the victim all the time? Here are some of the other things alongside Kiwi's murder. First, when I was 15 years old, detectives crashed into me and said they found some crack and put it on my cousin, CP. Blondie did that on the south side of Chicago. The court was hell. Second, my apartment was raided bogusly, and the police harassed me several times before the raid in Carroll Stream, Illinois. Third, living out of state was the worst. 2 officers of the law lied on me, not one, but 2. One said I had headbutted him and broke his nose, and the other said I fractured his arm. Somehow I came out of this so-called potential riot unscathed, huh? My eyes burnt like hell, though, for a few hours from the mace, even after the police hosed us down at the station. Water hoses were finally being used for something to help. Fourth, I have been to the penitentiary a couple of times and the jail in different counties across the United States. You cannot convince me that I was dealt a fair hand. I knew I was put here to fail. From all this self-inflicted turmoil, I would drink massively. Fifth after fifth, gallon after gallon. Your self-image coupled with your imagination is the magic. Those two things have to match each other. If those two don't match each other, you're going to be pulled back. You will be chin-checked. I have stopped drinking several times in the past. Every time I stopped drinking in the past, I would be bungee back to my truth. My true reality, like you'll be if you do not truly want change. If you do, it will definitely work. That's what it's about. It's about self-image. You cannot lie to yourself. If you do, you will be pulled right back into the same thing, the same environment, the same ways, the same habits. Get the point? This is my story. And I want to give a big thanks to Mr. Maxwell Maltz. Build your imagination and keep it solid would not be possible if I had not read Psycho-Cybernetics about 12 years ago as of the writing of this book. These simple principles in my book still hold true today as they did over a decade ago when I first read Psycho-Cybernetics. I can guarantee you, once you have a copy of my book, you'll understand and see the different perspectives and where you can identify your problems and eventually change your reality. So with that being said, I hope you enjoy the book with the enthusiasm and optimism that it was written with. Enjoy the joy throughout the wording of this Inner Success Way book. Chapter 1. Wake up and smell what's really cooking in the real world. Make one healthy choice every day. Dr. Sebi. You have to find life reasonably satisfying. You must have a worthy self-esteem and find yourself acceptable to you. You need to be real with yourself. You must have a realistic self you can live with, right? Not just you saying something, but doing something different. Your self-image must match your imagination. You must have a self you could trust and believe in. You must have a self that is not ashamed to be free and express all that creativity within. You always want to be able to express your creativity rather than hide or cover it up. You don't want to be like that. Imagine you sitting back in a group setting having a discussion, not mumbling a word, not feeling like you do not have to express your thoughts for whatever reason. You must know your strengths and weaknesses. You got to know how to move. A lot of this deals with how fast your brain can process information and how fast you can think. Process images and store them for reuse. It must be a reasonable estimate of your abilities, being no more or no less than you. When you have that going for yourself, you feel confident in that. When it is not, you hide that creativity. Your creative expression is blocked. Now, you may waste it by hiding in a shell like a turtle. You got to figure out how your inner way works. What we are talking about is self-image coupled with imagination. Your imagination must match your self-image. Sad to say, the masses of people that work jobs, let's just say 70% of the people that work earned income jobs. Then about 90% of the 70% working class has given up on creating more life. I'm not talking about the people that are looking for more life, that is, investing in any and everything that they can get their hands on. No, I'm talking about the working class that says, I have to work to survive. And retiring with no assets is the game plan which you ultimately made the goal. You want your self-image coupled with your imagination. A lot of us imagine, just not in the manner we should. Let me explain. People only use their imagination for unreal things. If you use your imagination for real things, your reality will positively change over time. When we imagine, it is usually used for fake, phony, unreal things or for things in the past, like winning millions without any real effort or living in the shadow of a deceased loved one. Something unchangeable. I've had my days where I was living through a bottle, a liquor bottle that is. Now, you may feel like you need to show up and show out physically through the liquor. I was looking at it through the wrong lens. You don't want to utilize your energy in the wrong arena or area. I eventually started writing books, and that's how I'm showing my creative expression, through digital products. I'm doing it in a multitude of other ways versus needing to express it physically through a bottle, that is. Don't set yourself up like that by living in the past. That's a revolving door, that alter ego. So that's what we are talking about. While you're thinking, hundreds of thousands of neurons in your brain are communicating with each other. Neurons are your nervous system. Always remember, your nervous system can't tell the difference between a real and a vividly imagined experience. Rational thought versus logical thinking. Rational thought is done with reason, and logic is based on evidence like probable cause. The police use probable cause tactics more times than they should. You know exactly what I'm talking about. Usually, you would try and get your case beat at a preliminary hearing to prove that they did not have probable cause to stop you. Here's a good high school example. If the trend was to be thick and not to be skinny, then you would go out of your way to eat and exercise more. Hypothetically speaking, some people would just do what they need to do to get themselves somewhat right. It's because the majority rules. That's what we are taught. And if you are not up to par, your self-image will be affected. Here's another example you might like. If you got a scar on your face, and this was from playing outside as a kid, then you just may consider it an ugly scar. If you go to school, kids may talk about you. This will affect your self-esteem. Versus having a big brawl, and you get a war wound for defending the youth football team from some violent bullies. You feel a boost of confidence from that war wound. Psychology holds the truth to all our actions. We are talking about the neurons in the brain and how they operate. We are talking about how you can manipulate the nervous system through imagery for the change that is wanted. This is the easy way. The easy way is to talk about the neurons and how you can guide yourself like a baby. If you can pick up a pen, walk, talk, read, any of these small tasks, you can succeed at whatever it is you want. Let me break it down. We're going to get to the nitty-gritty. You can do just about anything in the world you put your mind to. This is scientific and it works. That's facts. The key to unlocking the new you starts with you outsmarting your nervous system. It is a small process, so be patient. You have different forms of nature. You have different forms of life on Earth. You have a plant, and has a protective mechanism, which usually consists of a multitude of protective barriers that helps with its strength and protects it against germs or a pathogen invasion. You have rodents and animals that have an inner success wave within them. Imagine a squirrel in the trenches before winter. A squirrel automatically knows when it's time to start collecting its berries, acorns, and nuts for the winter. They also know to maximize their food consumption to get them through their hibernation period. Imagine and think about the birds and how they roll together. When it gets cold in one area, they dip out and go north or south depending on where the nice weather is at. The birds also fly together for a reason. The bird that's tired up front will drop to the back of the line for a break. Birds can fly much higher and longer depending on how big the flock of birds is. Last and not least, what about the inner success wave that the bees have? They already know what tasks to perform, pollinating the flowers and fertilizing them to help the plants reproduce. You also have things that work together in nature like trees. The trees are letting off oxygen. We breathe out carbon dioxide as human beings, and the list goes on. So, do you mean to tell me whatever creator that made everything on the planet made you less fortunate? Out of the blue just decided to make you less of a man or a woman for some weird reason? Do you really think the creator would make your inner wave less advanced than any other living being or thing on Earth? No. You have your protective superhuman ability as well. You have your inner success wave. Don't be that guy or girl that plays the victim, needing that justice in their life. Sorry to tell you, it is not about justice. It is just about what you can do for yourself. The need for more life and not frustrating your natural talent is the name of the game. When you give instructions to your inner success wave and let it go to work, you will hear me use inner wave, inner success wave, inner insight, inner mechanism, and inner success mechanism interchangeably. Just get the point, please. If you give your inner wave positive goals, it will listen. Even if you give it negative goals, it will listen. Some of us feel like putting our little power against the entirety of the world's situations and events could never help in the slightest. Who were you to battle those statistics? Let me tell you something. You are wrong. It will help you dramatically. You are already a part of the battle. There is no middle ground standing on the fence. Like our friends in blue would do, willingly watch as a horrible event takes place. You have to be the thinker that you are, and it will act when you need it to act. This book will be filled with transparent examples. You will have practical things to do that will gain results using your inner insight, using that inner wave. We have millions of neurons running through our brain, which equates to the brain weighing approximately 3 pounds. How much information can these 3 pounds hold? Just imagine downtown Chicago Sears Tower, now the Willis Tower. Can you imagine how many computers are in that building? Now imagine how many files are on each computer. That would equate to millions and millions of files, and the files being neurons that are in your brain. Neurons are your nervous system, which we can change by changing the images that we have stored about that thing or situation. The good thing is that you will not have to dig deep into your past, looking for memories for your inner success way to work. Your inner way will work automatically. We will talk about things that are in your face that you can do right now. The one thing we can't do is live in the past. That's another topic we will get to later. Give positive, clear-cut goals to your inner wave. Give it negative goals, and that's what you would get. It will perform the task that you asked for. It is not broken. You may be underutilizing or overutilizing your efforts. Do this. Easily ask Google a question every day about something as simple as an errand you're about to run or a goal-oriented question that benefits you until your mind is geared to think the way you want it to. This is something that will take literally seconds to a minute to do every day. Chapter 2. Wake up that inner success wave in you. Some people want it to happen. Some wish it would happen. Others make it happen. Michael Jordan. If you like basketball, you may appreciate a couple more books from two people. Old school basketball coaches Phil Jackson and Pat Riley have written books on the management of the mind and how important that winning feeling is. It doesn't matter what background you come from, rich or poor. If you chew bubblegum and walk at the same time, you can be as successful as you allow yourself and succeed with this book. You can elevate to a different level. One thing is for sure, you better not sit around leaving it 100% up to prayer. You have to act. Nothing will get done if you're not putting forth action unless you have the capital to outsource everything. Even then, you still must communicate what you want to be done so those people put forth some effort and action. You can do this to break almost any habit. I turn any crisis into a creative opportunity. About 2 years ago, when I was working my 9 to 5, my vision was so optimistic, there was no negative. It was and still is my duty to search for and find positive in any negative situation. It was times when me and my wife had no room for error on the money side of things. I've done things in the past that the average black woman would have left over a long time ago. And there were a lot of things I felt were unacceptable when it came to balancing emotion versus action. Without patience, it would not have worked. You must be so dedicated to it that people start thinking you are really crazy or really a genius. Pick a person, any person, or a group. Study them for 21 days. If you want to change your self-image, you must change everything associated with any faulty, undesirable image in your memory bank. You may need to balance the time spent with friends and loved ones if you feel they are not portraying a self that you may agree with. You have to change a lot. You must move in the shadow of the person you see yourself as. Whatever books, courses, or videos that people listen to or read, you try and have. You want to study that person until you can have a mental conversation with that person and strategically correct them if you need to. You need to come up with your own form of shadowboxing, knowing the opponent's next move before they make it. An athlete does it all the time. Football and basketball stars watch hundreds of hours of videos of their opponent's mistakes and wins. Kobe Bryant watched Michael Jordan for years on video. Football athletes do it all the time. Some are watching the offense and some are watching the defense so that they can ultimately gain a win to add to their portfolio. Everybody is watching what they are supposed to be watching so that they can make a legitimate move based on someone else's trial and error. It is somewhat like reading or having a lawyer protect you in a situation, renting someone else's experience. You better start renting someone else's experience because you are not getting any younger. This will not be my first or last time telling you to outsource any and everything. As the neurons communicate in your brain, something is created called muscle memory. Your inner way will remember the success in that situation. That's why golf is a 90% mindset. You have to watch the images you allow yourself to see, what you allow your nose to smell, mouth to taste, ears to hear, and fingers to touch. I was drinking 5 to 7 days out of a week for a couple of decades. Seriously, man. When I used to drink in my teenage days, it would take 2 to 3 days tops to pop back to reality after a hangover. When I stopped drinking at the age of 38, it would take 5 days to recoup, and I was not drinking as much as I was when I was younger. I knew it was time for a change, and the only way that would come would be from pure discipline. I always craved more from life, even when I was younger. That's what we need. We need more life in our life. Food for thought. Try not cutting on your Bluetooth or radio as soon as you get in your vehicle. Give yourself a couple of minutes, even for the entire commute, to reset and reflect on the small or big things that are in your life. Not the music, even though we love it. That's like the drunk that be on the corner steadily trying to hide from their true reality. Chapter 3. If there is a will, there is a way. If you are working on something that you really care about, you don't have to be pushed. The vision pulls you. Steve Jobs. So what are we doing? We're opening up, right? Let's bring everybody to attention. The goal is to live. You have emotional needs and spiritual needs. You have to explore new stuff and new horizons. You have to move forward. It's like one of the old sayings, I fail forward quicker. Regardless if it is a success or not, you need to be moving. You must be moving towards something. You need to move towards a goal. That is how we are geared. Napoleon quote, imagination rules the world. As long as you have something in your mind, you have a goal. You're imagining a goal. We need to transfer this goal to your nervous system. That's what you will ultimately do. When you imagine it, you will put it to work. You have to utilize your inner success wave. When you utilize your imagination in a way that's properly communicated to your inner success wave, everything you need will be at your fingertips. You have to program it, right? Programming properly, you could set yourself up for the banana in the tailpipe. Period. Point blank. Harry J. Kaiser quote, you can imagine your future. We are talking about rational thinking coupled with your imagination. Rational thought is done with reason. We understand logic is done based on evidence. Most of the actions in the world are not based on logic. We are doing things and living mostly from a rational standpoint. This person rubbed me the wrong way, or I felt the wrong way when I walked through the classroom door. Even, I went to work and I didn't like the way people were looking at me. Now you indulge and apply emotion with that self-limiting belief talk. I knew I shouldn't go to my brother's house or my sister's birthday party because I knew they were going to argue. Whatever you come up with, right? Applying your imagination purposefully and just not using it for any old thing temporarily. Something crazy like video games or just using it for something that doesn't mean anything. Ever imagine having a big imprint on the world? Just a thought. You have an inner success wave that will follow your instructions. You have a genie literally at your disposal. If you can chew bubblegum and walk at the same time, you are nearly untouchable and can achieve anything. You can accomplish any task you want. You can do anything. You own the process. Nothing is lacking that your inner wave cannot handle. We can look at several different things. Misuse of time is a big one on the list. Misuse of time versus your misuse of your imagination. If your self-image is different from what you imagine, your inner wave will be thrown off track. You may imagine from time to time and have all types of ideas, all types of different business plans and everything. It's like two different worlds for you when it comes to using your imagination properly. I had that problem worse until I fixed it. You will imagine some of the time and work all the time. So that's a misuse of time versus a misuse of imagination. We misuse our imagination at an alarming rate while simultaneously being flooded with info from the internet. We are not learning the right way to go about this and need to fix that immediately. It is no different from a baby trying to walk versus something serious as a person trying to learn how to drive a car. Imagine getting lost because the directions were tough. Every day you got lost for a whole week. You could not wait to get those directions, right? You were super salty every day. You got it wrong, and once you finally got it right, you said, yes. Even if you were doing something as big as putting in your swimming pool, or little as learning how to work on a piece of equipment, whatever big or small success you set out to do, once you accomplish it, your nervous system will store that data using muscle memory. Watch whom you emulate. You don't want to be going off outdated information because it sounds good and it's the trend at the time. Saying that it is good to multitask was used back in the day as a sales ploy to boost sales by humping the workers. Saying words that sound slick is not going to cut it. Say what you mean and mean what you say. Chapter 4. Don't turn yourself into the enemy with self-limiting beliefs. We can see through others only when we can see through ourselves. Bruce Lee. I have a younger cousin that has been through hell and back. If you got a chance to meet her and ask her about her life, she would probably stare at you in a meaningful way with those pretty brown eyes, with a smirkiest mug and say, "You wouldn't believe me if I told you." She has lost most of her immediate family. On her mother's side, she lost her grandmother at a very young age and most recently lost not one but both brothers tragically. On her father's side, with him, her father, being the most recent family death in her life. My little cousin has lost all 3 uncles and 1 auntie, and most of these people were near and dear to her. This is a lot for anyone to handle, but somehow she allows herself to shoot for the stars in every way imaginable. From being a hard worker and grinder to exploring the entrepreneurial realm, my little cousin is optimistic about everything, loves to communicate, and is always looking for something to expand her brain. No matter the situation, you got to push through. Are you going to fight with yourself over things you have no control over? Or are you willing to follow a strategic, humble state of mind? When we talk about having a strong self-image, my little cousin exhibited the behavior of a winner. Do not outcast yourself from your family and friends if you know that they are genuine. Go out and enjoy yourself. We can reprogram our self-image. You know your needs from your wants. You have to utilize your inner success wave as such. Using your inner success wave as the global internet, now reaching beyond your personal informational pool. At this point, it is not about all the spectacular things you can do. Now you are outsourcing what's on the World Wide Web, global net, for things you don't know. Growing up in areas where you were not so good. You have to see the truth about yourself to change your self-image. The fundamental message in this is everybody on the planet is geared for success. Period. Point blank. Your inner wave needs a goal to aim at. Let it work instead of making it work. Imagine if you were to set a small goal and work below the level of consciousness. Trust the process. That's one of the main things we have to learn, how to trust the process. We don't trust the process. We are actors, and you make yourself a reactor. The masses gear themselves to ignore their own imagination, while all their attention and energy is put into working or temporary pleasure. Imagination plays a bigger role in your life than you know. Your imagination can come into conflict with your self-image, and you can lose sight of the truth, setting yourself up for failure. Creative imagination versus destructive imagination. Basic fundamental law. Human beings always feel and act in compliance with what they imagine to be true about themselves and their environment. So, you can't escape that. You can analyze it, you can dissect it, you can uncover what's there. You can modify it, you can dress it up, you can drip it out, you can smoke it, roll it in the blunt. I don't care what you do with it. At the end of the day, some people really do lose sight of the truth. You want to make sure you don't set yourself up for failure. You want to set yourself up for success. Whatever goal you give it will be followed because it is a nervous system and your nervous system is not biased. Your nervous system can't tell the difference between a vividly imagined experience and a real one. Your nervous system reacts appropriately to what you think or imagine to be true about yourself. Something I wanted to talk about that was big on the list. A lot of people avoid this topic, but I will hit on it for a quick minute. Suicide in youth is a powerful imagination used negatively. Think about it. You have a person that would take their own life for whatever reason. There are a lot of different reasons why people would do such a thing to themselves. That's how powerful the imagination is. If you experience something like a bad car accident, no matter how much safety equipment you buy or have will make the terrible incident just disappear and go away. If you're stuck in a hypnotic trance, you are like, oh no, this ain't that. Seeing some Final Destination stuff happen or a loved one get hurt is some bad imagery. That's the intensity of what you're trying to accomplish in your imagination, but for something positive, not for fear. You want it to be geared towards a goal and you want to be more confident. Going back to the athletes that look at these recordings after studying, then acting upon utilizing their muscle memory, your neurons are now like boom. You're interacting and changing everything. Now your mind is in this particular state. You're manipulating your muscle memory. Your nervous system, the neurons, will get the point and level up automatically with a little practice with this book. Remember, if you can chew bubble gum and walk at the same time, you can be anything you want to be in life. Example, your friends decide to start challenging people to jump over a hole. If the first thing you said to yourself was, I don't think I can do it, do not try to challenge. You told yourself one thing, but are about to do the opposite. If you fall in the hole, that will add negative imagery to the collection of self-limiting beliefs that you may already be battling. It can be. Jumping over a hole or a car accident are examples. It does not matter. You are stuck in a trance. You want to be able to imagine something like that without it being negative. You want to be able to do this on a positive scale and not just for fear. Chapter 5. Selling your imagination. The single most powerful asset we all have is our mind. If it is trained well, it can create enormous wealth. Robert Kiyosaki. It really depends on the variety of hats you are wearing as that leader. Have you seen the movie Are We There Yet? Ice Cube and Nia Long are the star characters. Did you see how John C. McGinley, known as Chuck, puts on the electrician hat, plumber's hat, utility hat, and whatever hat he needed to make the deal work? A successful win. How are you selling? You must literally sit down and imagine all the different occurrences, along with questions that the other person may ask that could sabotage your successful results. You should have mentally practiced enough to have a positive outcome. What can a person or potential customer ask? How can I get the job or avoid rejection of my product or service? What are you selling? Is it a service, product, or yourself? You have to really be sincere about these results. You really got to get down how you live. This part can be done in your imagination. Negotiation is viewed as high-level selling. The key to the equation is hidden in plain sight. It is your income minus your expenses, which equals your investments and savings. The portion of what's left is to invest in something and save. Saving is for emergencies. That's it. That's all. Any other money that is left, you're supposed to invest with. Don't go turn your cash into trash by not making your money work for you. If those designer clothes and shoes are not part of the branding of your work, you're turning your cash into trash. You need to take advantage of utilizing pre-tax dollars. If you have multiple vehicles and don't do anything with them, put them on a car sharing platform like Turo or Get Around. That is, if you hold no emotional ties with them. I don't advise if you do, because there's a risk of damage to your vehicle. It is good for another income stream, considering a lot of people let those liabilities sit around and collect dust until it is too old. Savings make you poor due to inflation. Any investments make you wealthier. Period. These days, people can't stand their job and are depressed to a degree. Why would you look for an opportunity when you believe it is nothing there? That's like telling a caterpillar that it will soon fly around having fun and living life to the fullest. That caterpillar would say, "Shut up and leave me alone. I'll believe it when I see it." Using your inner success wave is the management of the mind and can be super effective with more accuracy until it becomes second nature. Trust the process. Let's get it. Choose anyone you feel to be a role model. You have to do this exercise. If you have not done it already, choose somebody. If you have not chosen them already, what are you trying to accomplish? If you say you are trying to be yourself, completely understandable, though you are looking for talents that supersede yours, eventually allowing you to inherit the winds of the talent. Ding, ding, and ding. I will be honest, mine consisted of a multitude of people I would follow. I wanted to do a lot of things. Do you understand what I'm saying? Course after course, book after book, and so on. I'm showing my people. I'm talking to the land. So, at the end of the day, I want to edit and learn how to shoot videos correctly. Learn how to utilize credit the right way. Well-round yourself and remember it is good to know a little bit about a lot. This is the best way to sell yourself and get hired for that dream job. Choose to go on an interview if that's your thing, right? Some people are intimidated by the interviewer. Just call it a phone interview. You don't even have to see him or her. Come up with the top 50 asked questions for the position you are applying for. Start to know those questions inside and out, even asked in different ways. Mentally rehearse this every day for 21 days. You can break a habit in 21 days. I know you can do it because I have several times. You will reverse this and gain new habits in 21 days. Do it properly and it will go 50 to 70% according to plan. Trust the process. Your mind has enough time to correct itself. Your mind will look for survival techniques in that area. Your mind will find success in it. Your mind has enough time to self-correct like that baby. Your first bike ride, or when you learn how to drive a car. You have plenty of misses along the way. Any one of them has enough time to correct itself. Whatever environment that person needs success to accomplish a win in. So, if you are a person that has a job as a mechanic versus someone who works on the computer all day, will be based on different situations because of individuality. It just depends on how that person made it, positive or negative. One of the main things you want to remember is to be calm. I did not put enough emphasis on being relaxed and calm when it comes to giving your inner success wave goals. You're giving it direction to do something. You want to be relaxed and calm. You want to be relaxed in a calm state because that's when you make the best decisions. You don't want to live in the past. You can't live in the future. You can live in the present. You want to be in the moment. You want to taste the food. When you're out and about with the family, you want to be in the moment. You do not want to mentally be at work and say, I ain't even see what happened. I wasn't even paying attention. And you really were not paying attention, losing potential life. You want more life, and you want to be relaxed, and I'm not going to stress that enough. You want to be relaxed and calm when making decisions. You want to put this in your imagination. Remember this lesson. Whatever it is you're trying to do in life, if that's not happening, if you're not achieving everything you want in life, it is probably because your goals are ineffectively being communicated or rejected by your self-image. This is your imagination not being reflective of your self-image. It's like an alcoholic deciding to stop drinking every other month for 6 months and then going heavy back again. All that for nothing and to hide from your true reality. Your self-image has to match your imagination. If it doesn't match, you will be popped back because you were trying to be something other than yourself. You didn't implant it. You didn't grow with it. Again, it's being ineffectively communicated to or rejected by your self-image. Your inner wave decided to say, oh no, that ain't right. Now the inner wave in you is underutilized or uninspired. This may sound strange as the youngins will say, no cap, trust the process. I don't care what you were looking for. I don't care if you were looking for some money. I don't care if you were trying to save your relationship or trying to save your marriage. I've been married for almost 20 years, by the way. Make love to it. You're supposed to cook with love when you cook your food. When you're in the shower, love the process, especially while doing it. Love life in general. Period. Point blank. Imagine playing a game of spades. You did not know. You're supposed to count each suit, especially when you first learn how to play. There are 13 cards in each suit. Then multiply 13 times 4 is 52. You just played suit until you were advanced enough to dictate an entire game, running the spades out, making another suit, the trump, a whole different level of spades. Imagine living in an area with no basements or living in a ranch house all your life, never having an idea of houses having basements. Once you find that out, it could open all kinds of possibilities. First of all, it's storage space. It can be a bedroom or multiple bedrooms. You can zone it out and rent it out. There's an endless amount of ideas of uses for a basement. Do not stay a product of your environment. It can hinder you, slow you down, and you will not give yourself a proper chance. Let's take it a step further and talk about something that can be beneficial to you and your loved ones, with the outcome being assets and monetary gain. Using someone more successful than yourself, preferably a family member. Utilizing their credit, being put on their credit card as an authorized user. When you do that, you're renting the other person's credit, and that amount is reflective of your overall limit. Why would someone put you on their credit, or shall we say, rent their experience? One good reason is there is no risk in an extra income stream. They don't have to tell you a credit card number or give no direct access anywhere, anytime. Once they make you a so-called authorized user, that amount will be added to your debt-to-income ratio until your time is up. Some people may rent for a month, others may need to rent for a longer period. Entrepreneurs call it trade lines. A lot of banks may frown upon it, and some are all right with it. The main thing, it is legal with no risk. When you sign someone up for a trade line, the card should be sent to your house and in your possession. If you are not doing it from an entrepreneurial standpoint and are sending that credit card to their address, make sure to set that credit limit for them right away. If your imagination only goes as far as saying any kind of credit is bad, is not a good way to think. Banks have an algorithm just as social media do. Why not follow that algorithm or the algorithms of many banks? A lot of us do it on social media and with family for free anyway. When you use a food stamp card or debit card, the funds will never grow and the amount will always stay the same, unless you keep popping kids for stamps, and I'm not talking about that. On the other hand, your credit score and your credit limits will increase depending on that bank and how you handle it. You will always need a good credit score for insurance purposes. Depending on what it is, you still may need to get your credit run just to make sure you are who you say you are. Still, even when you are trying to buy it outright with cash. Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion are the three credit bureaus. They are the ones running the show in the forefront. They have some bigger siblings to keep those bureaus in line, though that exceeds the scope of this book. You are automatically included in the game when you decide to rent or get a house, even buying a car. Something a person would need insurance for. Why not be one of the best in it? You also have financial institutions that are the least favored. The reason that is, they may pull from all three credit bureaus at the same time. That is a no-no. You are playing a game with the point system and an algorithm. It is stupid to let a financial institution pull from all three credit bureaus for a single credit card or anything singular. When you get to a point in your life, meaning experienced enough with managing credit, you will not fall for the banana in the tailpipe when it comes to these institutions. You may not have a lot of money in the bank, but leveraging credit is a perk. Why not use someone else's money to buy something and collect some type of income, or something you never actually completely paid for? Smart, right? Like with credit, spades, and ranch house examples, you will not allow yourself to experience the other side of things. Being stuck in that trance, and I'm not talking about a positive one. If you're scared to invest, do it safely with pre-tax dollars, not with hard sweat and tears. Earn income dollars. You're supposed to be dropping off assets like Sonic the Hedgehog, generations down. That's something those great-great-grandbabies will love and appreciate. When you head towards business credit and business in general, if your mind is in the right place, you will know it. It is about emotional intellect. It is about branding yourself. It is about shaking hands and networking. To not know it would be the person in the crowd frowning at every old classroom schoolmate with a grudge that you saw at the school reunion. Hindering your creative expression could block you from going to the next level. If you have ever heard the popular Dave Ramsey that talks about the snowball effect and the little small successes on the way up to a huge success. Everyone will cross that path in the beginning. And if you need to experience those small successes, go for it. When you train your inner wave in a manner, it will be inevitable. And you will not need those smaller successes as much as someone more trained with their inner success wave. Chapter 6. How to relax and let your inner wave work for you. Just one small positive thought in the morning can change your whole day. Dalai Lama. As you use steps in this book, you will not have to dig deep. We're going to talk about things that are in your face that you can see. One of my favorite examples of all time. This is a hood-bound example a lot of people can relate to. When you imagine somebody coming through the cut, coming through the gangway, coming through the passageway, right? You imagine every detail and analyze it over and over again. So what did you do? Are you prepared for that encounter? You analyze everything. How do you just use the imagination right there? You used it in a negative light. You just used it carelessly. It wasn't for leisure or recreation, but it was used for something that you would be scared or spooked of. Even that type of security is still negative. You need to use it for something beneficial. A lot of people would say it was used right. It was used right, but it was not used to the best of your ability. Nowhere near. That's what I'm trying to get you to see. You have to be calm. You have to prepare. Sit back, like Kobe, watching Jordan. Shadowboxing with your imagination will work wonders if implemented correctly. There are different strategies to gain muscle memory from success. Some of us are scared to use our imagination or just don't know how to use it properly. What have you been imagining for years that you have seen yourself doing or buying in the future that ends with a super duper success? We will call it a super duper success, a vividly imagined picture that can be used to get you to the desired destination. Do you understand? This is a desired result that is very vividly seen. Yes, serious mental rehearsal can be super effective if you really want it. If you're not using the mental practice approach, you are sleeping on the wave. This is one of the best universal psychological tools for success. That's just like everybody using drills and you trying to use a manual screwdriver. You could do it, but why? That's retarded. That makes no sense. You know, if you're doing something and picturing something else, you're not doing it right. How are you going to do something and picture something else? Keep that in mind. We are engineered to be successful. Your present self-image was built on your imagination of millions of pictures formed in the past. The same method you use to build a bogus, negative self-image, you will use that same strategy to build the right one. Pay attention to detail in your imagined picture. Remember, your nervous system doesn't know the difference between a real experience and something imagined. When practice comes, imagine the moment. Your nervous system will eventually get the point. You don't want to be that guy talking about, should we be imagining as we used to when we were kids? We have to learn to let go of all that outdated information that has been floating around for decades. To think that using the imagination is some bullcrap and only for kids is crazy. To think that kids are only supposed to imagine, you are wrong. You, as an adult, still must imagine all the time. You are supposed to be using your imagination for something more technical and beneficial, whether it's something big or small. So practice. The only thing you have to do now is feel in the moment. Now you have confidence. Repeat the videos and audio of your selected role model and practice more. 30 minutes daily. Massage and caress every detail of your masterpiece, right? You're building different stories up to form a true self that you can love and enjoy. Whether you're at work and need to build a safe zone for that irritating ass coworker that you just want to punch the mess out of, you tell yourself over and over, they are paying me $3,000 a week. He or she doesn't bother me that much. You tune them out. You got that zoom room ready for when that certain person comes around. You may need to pull a zoom room out of your back pocket at any time. It could be when you're taking a test to calm yourself down. It is called getting in a zone. This is what this is called, getting in the zone. Whether you have a one small zone for a particular reason or have 5, 10, or 15 different zones of imagined material, own it, Live it, speak it, walk it, talk it. You need to ride it, bang it, swing it. You understand me? Whatever you do with it, own it. Otherwise, you're being something other than yourself. And what happens? The rubber band man effect. The rubber band man effect is you popping back to your original reality. You never really put the time into growing. You can be that person that loses a lot of weight through exercise, but if you really don't change your mind, then there is no real goal or task and nothing positive will be maintained. You can escape it. Escapism. Everybody has their own form. Your house is escapism. Just going to the park, going to the zoo, or any shelter. An umbrella is a form of escapism. Let's get it. Let's rock. What in your life do you feel that there is an injustice for? Whether it be your neighbor that has never taken the other guy's parking space but parks in your spot. You're like, this mother sucker testing me. It could be any form of injustice. It could be the police acting up like they always do. It could be a form of injustice on your job. You feel like, hold on, why did they get a promotion? What form of injustice can you think of? If it is injustice, we will change one of those problems today. Pick one of them because there are a lot of small injustices we may not notice we also use. Sorry to burst your bubble. It is not about injustice. What is injustice? The feeling of being victimized in some form? You put yourself in most of those circumstances. My example is talking about decision making. There are no right decisions. It's just a decision. Decisions that we make right to the best of our ability. Truly, it's about what you can do for yourself. Don't become a product of your environment or don't stay a product of your environment. That's what it is. You become a product of your environment and then have this injustice thing in your mind as if someone owes you something. Nobody owes you shit. Stand on your own 2 feet. It's all psychological, along with all the images built up in your mind. If you feel that it's a form of injustice, it is. It's all about what you believe about yourself at the end of the day. This will be converted into muscle memory. Remember, your nervous system doesn't know the difference between something vividly imagined or something that really happened. This is all about the imagination. Everything is about the imagination and emotional intellect in today's world. How you let it work for you is by trusting the process, period, point blank. Chapter 7. Untrue dumb things you may believe about yourself. Make sure your worst enemy doesn't live between your own 2 ears. Laird Hamilton. I have an auntie on my father's side that has done the unbelievable and became not only a pastor, but also something kids used to dream of becoming when they're older, a fire chief. It has been at least 2 decades now, and from what I hear, auntie is still going strong. Never say never. You never know what will happen. My auntie accomplished all this from the south side of Chicago, Illinois. It did not start like that, though. Going through adversities in the home and having to be adopted back into the family, one would imagine how hard it would be to deal with. As a young black woman, having to build a name for yourself from scratch is a hat-tilting event and deserves a standing ovation. This is a lady that always kept me motivated and interested in life by taking me and my sisters and brother to places like Hollywood Park to enjoy the benefit of small success. I love you, auntie. You have to dehypnotize yourself from self-limiting beliefs. I can't do that. I'm not worthy. I don't deserve that. That's you feeling inferior to another person or group. Hold on. This ain't that. You must unlearn all that stuff because it is the wrong way of thinking. Financial literacy is something that is not taught in the community, therefore overlooked in your imagination. The masses have not had the chance to express their imagination because it is being guided to sound like this. The rich people ain't paying taxes. Why are you saying the rich are not paying taxes? If you were business-oriented yourself, you would know that there is no debt-to-income ratio on a lot of business credit. The smart way is to start investing with pre-tax dollars. It is a state of mind. It is what the imagination holds. Credit is beyond the scope of this book. If you would like, you can go to the website, www.chicagominded.com, and join our email list and get additional information. You must unlearn a lot of things about yourself. This example right here is for the land hood-bound. If you were that guy on the block hustling, and you could not seem to get past that ounce of C, right? You always say, man, every time something goes wrong, I can't get past this ounce. That is deeply set into your self-image. You haven't imagined far enough or haven't imagined the right way at all. Rational thought coupled with imagination can produce unbelievable results. You can elevate to the next level. Now let's keep it moving. When we talk about losing that inferiority sticker on your forehead, losing that to whose norm? Who are you comparing yourself to? Inferior versus superior. Who are these people? When you talk about them people, they are individualized at the end of the day. You have to make this make sense. I will steadily give you practical things you can follow. Trust the process. This is realistic. I'm keeping this simple for you. Things such as astrology and studying the sky are much more complex than changing these mental images you have stored. Making an apples to orange comparison would be unfair. That would be like someone making something in the lab and making it your truth. How would someone complete that task and trick you like that? Make it the norm in a particular environment. In that setting, convince the other people over there that they do not measure up to the normal standard. You can't make this stuff up. Do you understand what I'm saying? Don't turn the gun on yourself. That's like saying if you were convinced that 1 of 10 people that came straight from out of high school got a job and became a millionaire, what if that was believable? Then after your first year of high school, you would say, hold on, do I want to do this? Yeah, I don't want to do that. Now you're talking to yourself because you know something doesn't sound right. Stop comparing yourself to others to the point where it is mistaken as the goal. Sit back, take a chill pill and relax. Relaxation helps us dehypnotize. Unlearn what you've been learning. You have to get rid of those unwanted images you don't want there. Practice a relaxed state that your mind remembers. All those different Zoom rooms that you create earlier, if you have 5 or 10 different rooms, you want to be relaxed in a relaxed state without pressure. When you rush, it was poor planning usually. You know what happens when you rush to work. You don't want to be that guy. I'm always late. You just gave your imagination images and a task to complete. You're the person that will be late. You just told your self-image your truth. You're the person that is always late. It's because if you said it is the truth, you best believe it is the truth. You're telling yourself that, so I believe you. Loosen up. Practice this. So your inner wave remembers that state of mind. Now you are building an inadequate self-image. Now you're slowing down. You're relaxing. You want to keep your heart at ease. You don't want to be frustrated all the time. You want to be positive most of the time. So if you are positive 70% to 80% of the time, you are doing well. Lowballing the average because we know people are not happy most of the time. So if you're doing 70% C work, you have been to school. It's a go. It's average and passing. Even if people judge you and give you a C-, though you are positive 70% of the time, you are all right. That's a good ballpark, just because you're positive most of the time. The better you get at remembering the detail, the better you'll be able to serve yourself. Do you see what I'm saying? It will get better, and your inner success wave will eventually remember it down to the last detail, as if it was second nature all along. Chapter 8. Success with the Power of Rational Thinking. The greatest discovery of all time is that a person can change his future by merely changing his attitude. Oprah Winfrey. I have another auntie on my mother's side that is serious business. You show any sign of fear and she will have you sweating or crying in your misery. You'd be willing to pay top dollar for her to leave you alone. Auntie is not doing it on purpose. Full of life. The last I heard, she was treating my mother and the rest of her sisters to Paris. I heard they were super duper pre-planning everything down to the smallest detail. This Paris trip was planned to happen in May of 2023. This was the month Mercury was retrograde until about mid-month. Hope they are real calm and careful. That's when they'll make the best decisions. We will see how it turns out. Life is a party and she is flawless in her own words. To learn more about astrology, go check out www.queenslovevibe.com. Growing up, she had a thing for fashion. All of her sisters liked to dress, but with her, it was something different. Her ego being above the norm potentially frightened soft-skinned people away. If you can't stand the heat, get the heck out of the kitchen is what she'd tell you. So when we are talking about a solid self-image, Auntie is the definition. Rational thinking is done with reason. Current rational thought, coupled with the imagination. What you are trying to do is make a decision. You're trying to make a conscious decision to stand on something. The inner success wave got word back. It has instructions. You gave your inner wave instructions to go handle this goal. You could say about 15 years ago, I wasn't eating tomatoes or mustard. I didn't like it. All of a sudden, I woke up one day, tried each of them, and liked them. I did not have to go dig deep for something like that to find a long-lost negative memory. It was just something that was right there automatically. We are challenging some of those self-limiting beliefs from something that's right in front of us. That's what we are doing. We do not have to always dig 15 or 20 years back if that memory is now part of your character. Remember, all skills are learned by trial and error. Perfect example. Would I laugh at you and make fun of you because of some past error that was used to gain success? Such as saying something like this. You fell off that bike 596 times when you were little. When the error served its purpose, it should be forgotten. You should never dwell on the error. That's falling for the banana in the tailpipe. You'll never see success when you dwell on an error or the past. Don't make the error the goal. Don't give power to the past. Act as if it's present. You don't have to live in the future. Just live in the present and look forward to the future. Would you go begging any boss for a position at a job? Talking about some, man, I need this job, pretty please. That would make you a pretty please sucker, you know. Exactly what I was thinking if you said no. And that's what a lot of us do mentally when we go on interviews unprepared. If you're going on an interview, practice the interview and stop playing with yourself. Stop playing with your time. Practice the interview. Rehearse the interview. Go over the interview in your mind and shadowbox it. Get the top 50 questions, and I guarantee that the situation will come out 70% as you imagined. Don't wait on the right decisions before you act. We as people make decisions and then make the decisions, right? You will have a better self-image once you realize people are important. Everybody is important around here. I don't judge people. I hold them accountable. So that's the whole thing. That person within that's criticizing you through mental images, get back or get slapped. The lamed out critic within. You got to stop them. Stop carrying around a mental picture of yourself not being worthy enough or good enough to have it. By doing the apples to oranges comparison on yourself, please don't do that. Celebrate your small and big victories no matter the size. You are not your mistakes. Appreciate your worth. Don't take stuff for granted. Want and crave more life. Stay optimistic about life in general. Have you known someone in your life that seems a little too optimistic about everything? Wow in the stars, wow in the flowers. You do not have to be wowed by everything, but you should be wowed and amazed at yourself. There are a lot of things to be amazed at by in this world. I am still amazed at how a scab grows and covers the sore until it is healed. I tell my kids, don't peel that scab. You should be amazed at the way your body works and how it is set up for success. Your inner success wave will always work in your favor, depending on the goal you give it. Your hair follicles that are all over your body are a simple one. To protect your eyes, nose, private parts, and the list goes on. You have a lot of different mechanisms working in your favor to help you along the way. Don't downplay the product just because you haven't used it correctly. Downplaying your physical body because you don't know how to use it. Please, give me a break. You want to set yourself up for success. Remember the success and forget the failures. Practice improves a skill. Not because repetition has any value in it. If it did, we would learn from our mistakes instead of our goals. A person will miss the shot way more many times than it will hit. Just think about it. You are not worried about the misses. You want the hits, and you want to couple this with your imagination. If that was the truth, the practice should make him bad at missing them, since that's what he practices most. No, your misses will diminish. It will get lower and lower. Your inner wave will remember and reinforce all the successful attempts instead of the misses. When we remember all of our negatives, that destroys our self-image by entertaining the stuff by adding emotion. That's how you can set your inner wave up for failure. You don't want to do that. Use errors and mistakes to learn, dismissing them from your mind. I have to say, abusing chemicals such as drugs is a lack of self-acceptance. You're not accepting yourself because you feel that alter ego is needed. I did it for years. You can't tell me anything different. I already know the business. You need that alter ego for it to happen. Even if it is to turn up for a short while, it's just a different level. It's just a different realm. The average person can do it and be able to maintain it, but you're still blocking something out. Honestly, all of us still need some form of escapism, even if it is not liquor. Look at it like this. You're not changing yourself, but changing the mental picture of yourself. There's nothing wrong with that. Negatives belong to us, but we are not our mistakes. Learn to emotionally tolerate the imperfection in yourself. Don't hate yourself. Understand the difference in your behavior versus yourself. A true story. Don't compare yourself to artificial standards. Self-acceptance is your own way. You don't need to strengthen by adding. You can strengthen by subtracting. Subtracting liquor, but gaining hours and hours daily to spend with my kids whom I love dearly. Also, being able to spend more time to market more efficiently. What is that worth? How do you view things? My family has gone on vacations some would consider a bad trip to hell. This vacation stemmed from knowing Mother's Day and my son's birthday was around the corner in May. We bought 2 GoPros and other equipment for the audio and lights to record video. The average person would consider this a trip from hell, far from a vacation. Rooms got messed up and the new rooms had bed bugs. Those bed bugs ate my youngest son all up. The entire family went to the emergency room and saw the doctor. Just chaotic. Everything that resembles chaos had our name on it. I almost got into an accident with this old lady on the way to the restaurant that day. The kids were even acting up at the start of the so-called vacation. In my eyes, if someone was to ask how was my day, I would say completely fine. That's how I honestly looked at the situation, and that is how you should view situations and things that happen in the world. What kind of person are you? Chapter 9. Don't hold a gun to your head by activating your inner failure wave. Imagination is the only weapon in the war against reality. Lewis Carroll. Why would you aim a gun at yourself knowing the gun was loaded? Well, that's what you do when you are mad for some reason consistently. Some kind of goal was not met. Frustration, anger, resentment, jealousy, and emptiness are part of your failure inner wave. Don't make a small obstacle the primary goal. When you do this, you work against yourself because you make this the goal. You make the frustration the goal. I don't care if you thought another way in the past. At the end of the day, you make that the goal. If you're not happy most of the time, frustrated and angry most of the time, then you make that the goal. Now you just set yourself up for failure. Your inner wave has a task, and it will fail due to misguided instructions. It will be underutilized or unused. It will be lazy and lousy. You are your own worst enemy. Saddening, but it's the truth. That's the victim's role, frustration and anger, because you could not get something done. You couldn't reach a goal, whether it be small or big. Well, life's against me. We talked about justice already in the previous chapter. We talked about just what you can do for yourself. We're going to keep it moving and change the images up. Let's keep it rocking. Babies only get their way, not as an adult. So you sitting back pouting and stuff, that stuff does not work and goes nowhere. You got to remember your thoughts and your feelings go together. So if you just projecting, you can project defeat into the future, then you just doomed yourself. When you consider neurons, the nervous system, feelings are the soil in that thoughts and ideas grow in. So imagine how you would feel if you were to experience success. If so, imagine how you would feel if you were successful and feel that way now. That's what you need to do. You need to think about it in that manner. You have it imagined deep. Now you know the feeling. Just keep that in your arsenal of happiness and use it abundantly like people sing and rap all day long in their heads. That's what people do to get that successful feeling. Basketball players, football players, golfers, writers, car salesmen, professional entertainers, and so on. You do not have to be a professional. Anyone can use these techniques. They go into that mode. They shadow box. They're utilizing their imagination. You want to set goals and head towards them. Control your emotional esteem. Don't lash out blindly. Don't be resentful. That's how all that disease sticks around. Alzheimer's and health issues become a bigger problem. It's because you're fighting against yourself and your body is at dis-ease. You have to be happy. Think about it. All that outside influences, the road rage, that's an uncontrolled goal. Why are you even worrying that much about something to the point that you would risk your life doing 130 miles per hour just because you like to drive faster than anyone on the expressway? Don't be so involved that you forgot to mind your own business, right? You can use mental or physical strategies, but you must let off some steam. You need to be calm. Stay calm, and your decision-making process will turn out smoother. That's how you want to imagine things, in a calm state. You want your body at ease, not at dis-ease. We are goal-striving son of a guns. There is no need to feel alone or lonely. Be more sociable. Change up. The more you take an interest in other people, you will enjoy it and at times lose yourself in the process. This is good because you realize you don't need to keep up with your previous shenanigans or the way you previously viewed certain stuff. It is because you have lost yourself and found a new love. Try losing yourself in the smaller things. Whether it's dancing, eating, playing games, cards, or whatever, take a chance. Give the benefit of the doubt. Let me see what's going on in that part of town. Don't be gullible and retarded. Let's be adult about it. But I'm just saying, once you do that, then you're good. Open up. Sometimes you gotta lose yourself to find yourself. Don't be scared. Contribute to some social activities. Substitute loneliness for aliveness. Again, taking away instead of adding is always a good thing. You subtracted, you took the loneliness out, so you don't have to always add. You don't have to be right 100% of the time. You don't have to be right about everything. You want to tell them, I fell forward quicker. Embrace the zigzag until you hit the destination. Like, man, okay, I made this wrong turn. Okay, I got to come back around this way. Success does not come overnight when you climb the ladder. You know how long I was marketing before I made some money off of it? I had been marketing for years before I made my first $100. You must keep going. Chapter 10. People using the I need justice trick and do not realize it. While the world of reality has its limits, the world of your imagination is without boundaries. Wayne Dyer. There is no justice, but we may manufacture just results for ourselves. Become responsible for your own goals. Resentment is the opposite of your inner success wave. Don't be resentful even when you have a legitimate reason. It is a fact, millions will be born, struggling, hurting, broke, starving, and gangbanging. On the flip side, other millions will be born with a silver spoon in their mouth. It is a fact people will always work a 9 to 5 and be discriminated against. It's a lot of facts. What will you do, though, is the question. Intending and hoping for justice to live a successful life? Don't hold your breath, pimp. Let's test your happiness 1 through 4. How do you enjoy things? 1. Do you enjoy the smaller things in life? 2. Do you enjoy the thought of making it home every day from work? 3. Do you enjoy spending time with the family and don't take it for granted? 4. Are you happy to be healthy, even somewhat healthy? Or just to be alive to be able to read this book? That must have some value in it. Your time with your partner, your wife, and your kids should be at the top of your priority list. You can go down the list and start picking and choosing self-limiting beliefs. If you're a person that doesn't enjoy the smaller things, it may be more serious than you think. See, is it a fact? Bring it up. Say it to yourself and say it out loud. You have to say it out loud. Sometimes, listening to your verbal tone helps. Try it. What you thought sounded good in your head may not sound so good when you speak it. Take some good advice from yourself instead of others' advice all the time. You can test yourself with the smaller, larger things and come up with some good answers to learn yourself better. Do this over time and get better at it. Thinking negatively and having that feeling of emptiness is non-productive. Emptiness is non-creative living. Emptiness and an inadequate self-image are the same thing. Let me be honest, to come off as a person that doesn't enjoy anything is lame as hell. Where do they do that at? That is the energy you want to avoid. In the last example, you would not have to go dig deep to change a memory, imagery. You also strengthen by subtracting. You glance at the negatives by focusing on the positives. A blinking light, speed limit, the dashboard, something you just boom for a second. You don't keep your eyes on the dashboard. At the end of the day, reflect on what happened. Remind yourself, these are just indicators. I am not my mistakes. You are not your mistakes. I can't preach that enough. In the same way, the body naturally gets callous. If that part of the body is steadily rubbed the wrong way, you can become callous emotionally. Emotional scars harm you for future opportunities. You can mold the self-image. Nothing super advanced about this. The simple stuff. Not talking about astrology or anything far-fetched. We are strictly attacking the images you put inside of your mind or subconsciously put in there. It doesn't matter if you are younger or older. There are no age brackets for goal setting, my dude. You do not have to overprotect because when you overprotect, you mess stuff up. That's like getting distilled water. You want spring water. Distilled water is stripped of all the bad nutrients as well as the good nutrients. There you go, doing the most. Stop it. Stay in touch with other people. Don't underestimate the power of emotional damage and emotional scars. I can talk about it. My entire family is guilty of it along with the masses. My mother has gotten assistance, whether it be low income or Section A. You have that, and then you have the other assistance, which is stamps, link cards, which stems from generations well before my mother and father's time. Self-limiting beliefs come from the lack of resources and a slew of other reasons. But that right there can hinder you. Stuff like that, meaning the handouts in the front end, stunts our growth for many generations with the financial literacy in the back end, which is another topic in itself. Usually it's due to self-limited beliefs. You have to assume responsibility for your actions. Chapter 11. Don't take things so personally. Don't go through life. Grow through life. Eric Butterworth. Stop taking everything so personally, because everything is not personal. You may not be the victim. 9 times out of 10, you are not the victim. I help individuals in my life, and usually it's the person's self-image that has the damage. Change the imagery. Change the game. Relaxation cushions emotional hurt. Forgiveness is not a weapon. Don't misuse it. Are you really forgiven, or has the other person incurred other debt that they do not know about? There are 2 types of forgiveness. Sincere forgiveness, and you can be on some dirty, backdoor, and revengeful forgiveness. A small list of things to do and remember. 1. You make mistakes. Mistakes don't make you. 2. Give yourself an inner wave super makeover. 3. Find 4 people in your life and forgive them. 4. It's something you have done that is super bogus in the past that you have not forgiven yourself for. Now is the time to fully forgive yourself for whatever this may be. Seriously, man. Why do people love babies so much? Babies are the purest thing on earth. That's why. Babies aren't tampered with. We bring them into the world and we teach them bad things and how to lie. Not all of us, but some of us. We teach them how to be conniving when their back is up against a wall. We turn our babies into something wicked, but with the right guidance, that baby will be okay. What makes the entire day feel like a month? Don't dread something you already agreed to. Think about this. If it is something that can be thought about today and forgotten tomorrow, probably did not need your immediate attention anyway. Don't age faster. You don't have to hurt emotionally. You have to let go. Don't take things so personally. Keep your head up. If your head is down, most of the time you are down. If you're in that state of mind physically, that's your state mentally. You have to get on track. You have to do better. Excessive guilt, remorse, and regret in the past force you to live in the past, and you can't appropriately respond emotionally to something that happened in the past. You cannot see your future with optimistic eyes if you can't view your past with kind eyes. How are you going to look at something optimistic in the future when you are steadily angry and frustrated about something in the past? You missed your beat. You're tweaking. You make mistakes. They don't make you anything. Open yourself up just enough to make yourself stronger. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. A lot of young people are walking around mad, angry, and grumpy, and that's the same characteristics of an old person. 9 times out of 10 looks old in age. What are the attitudes and characteristics of your closest 7 cell phone contacts? A. Angry and grumpy. B. Full of life and optimistic. C. A mixed circle. Which one is it? This is how you're supposed to analyze the time spent on whom you're talking to and analyzing the characteristics of the people that's around you. Live creatively and find forgiveness where it is needed. Always find small things to forgive yourself for. It will massively help you in the long run. Trust the process. Course correction is to not mistake a flaw as the goal. The same examples from earlier. Babies do it. Basketball players watch video playbacks. Football players watch video playbacks. And salesmen, videos of people that sell better. So they experience course correction through observation. You have to test self-limiting beliefs. Conscious self-criticism. Chapter 12. Are you living in the past? Adults are bad at remembering how powerful they can be, because somewhere along the line, they were shamed for their imagination. Stephen Chbosky. If someone asked you how much you use your imagination, what would you say? All the time? No thoughts on the matter? Nothing to grasp because it's nothing there? Sometimes. If you live in the past, then we cannot move forward. This is a simplistic expression, a simple way to make you responsible for yourself. The I can't attitude is our own self-imposed limiting beliefs. You have to operate in environments without fear. And being scared will stunt your inner creative wave, stopping you in your tracks, and enabling you to prove your confidence to your inner success wave. Imagine being agitated about something, overcomplicating things when it is not as bad as it seems. Trying to thread a needle is one of them. Another is trying to pour liquid from a larger container into a smaller one. So, you get anxious. You start going crazy, and that doesn't work in your favor. So you have to practice being calm. We need to re-examine and reevaluate our beliefs. Are you the person that sounds like this? Every time I was about to get on, something happened. If you think like that, then you may not feel worthy of it. Have you ever told yourself that you don't feel worthy of it? You don't feel you deserve it? Behavior and feelings spring from belief. If this belief is not a fact, you can alter it. You can change it. Yes, you can with the power of deep desire. That's what you're doing when you worry. You use your imagination, not deep willpower. You don't keep dwelling that it might happen. It seems more and more real after a while. Emotions are born. Anxiety, depression, and fear are caused by all those negative emotions. Now, change the picture. As easy as you can have bad emotions, you can have good emotions. There you go. See, when you worry, you use your imagination, but you are doing it with no stress. Today, everybody worries about bills. You're using your imagination entirely the wrong way. Yes, we underestimate ourselves in all areas of life. We overestimate the complication of the nature of the difficulty that we were facing. Sometimes it really won't be that hard. You put so much emphasis on what you don't know, you make the small obstacle the goal. It is your story. Tell it. Meaning your story doesn't mean it is my truth. That is your truth. So if it is your truth, then it's your truth. If you say, I'm tired, I can't do it, why am I always getting mistreated? It is your story at the end of the day. Choose all of the above. Just think about the psychology behind this. Let me give you an example. Hey, you look like you're getting a little sick, Day-Day. Now you have a group of coworkers or classmates playing a little trick on you. Soon before you know it, you will begin to think, maybe there's something wrong. You may start asking your girl or guy as you look in the mirror. Your inner wave will try to figure it out. It all depends on the instructions you give it. You must watch what you let your ears hear, what you let your eyes see, and what your nose smell. You have to be vigilant of your imagination. You must watch to whom you lend your imagination. It's the job of the current rational thought to analyze messages, to accept what is true and reject what's not true. Go into your cell phone contacts. Your favorite 7 contacts in your phone are a part of you and how you think. If it was not a part of how you think, then those people would not be in your contacts. Who are you around? Who are you listening to? What you want to do is try delegating rational creative thought to the universe. Just positive thoughts in simple layman's terms. Whatever you do, don't worry. You may think this type of strategy is for writers, authors, or entertainers. No, this is for everybody. You may go even further to think using your imagination in such a way as for kids. No. This is for everybody. It is a certain way you are supposed to go about letting go. You can't tell yourself a lie. Your imagination must match your self-image. Meaning, if you decide to take your little sister to the doctor or take your mama to the dentist, then it is what it is. Let's talk about the decision. You decide to go with it. You did not want to deal with your parents or sibling. Now, you're cussing your mama out one day, the next day, you're cussing your little sister out. All of these are different instances. These are different variations that you can fight yourself about. Do not fight yourself. Let it go and live longer. So when you go with it, relax. If you agreed with something, let's say you decide to watch after your grandparents on a day you picked, no need to fuss with yourself about why you're doing it. This will still be an example of living in the past to a degree. It is because you went with it. You decide to make a decision. So why are you living in the past? You can't change the past. You're fighting yourself. Now you're feeling stressed. Watch wasting your energy over spilt milk. You may need that piece of energy that you're carelessly using in the wrong area. If you decide to go with your wife or partner to the grocery store, don't fuss with them the whole trip to and from the store, causing discomfort for both parties. Take a chill pill and relax. Don't live in the past of old thoughts that you agreed to. Do you see what I'm saying? Live in the now. The inner success wave only works in the present. Live in the moment. Do not mess up the inner success wave of your imagination. Enjoy it. Enjoy the smell. Enjoy the taste. Enjoy the sip when you taste whatever it is you're tasting. Slow down to enjoy. Enjoy the energy. Even enjoy the commute to and from work and any daily errands. Do not speed to the destination. Slow it down on the way there. Make sure you are allowing yourself enough time to be able to cruise. Don't spend hours daily commuting with your heart at a diseased pace. Having your heart race while you do 134 miles per hour is not a good look for those organs. Some people do that, drive to work for years, and do not realize they are hurting themselves in the long run. Chapter 13. Are you truly 100% happy? If you can imagine it, you can achieve it. If you can dream it, you can become it. William Arthur Ward. If you're not happy, your body is at dis-ease. Your body being at dis-ease is not good for your health. You want to practice success without stress. That's what you're ultimately doing. It's because you're doing it at a calm pace, and your muscle memory will remember to be in a happy state. That's ultimately what it's about. Being happy, keeping the heart rate, right? Happiness is not a given. Even though happiness is natural and everyone on earth can choose to be happy. That's the thing, though. You have to make that choice. True happiness can only be determined by you. First, you must change a lot of your old ways. It starts with the simple stuff. Things and statements you will tell yourself out loud and be convinced of. Saying things like, man, I'm always doing something wrong. I'm always late. And/or my kids are always the only ones. Self-sabotage. You can't talk like that to yourself. My wife and I don't even use certain words. Some seems more like curse words than real curse words. A good example. It's going down. No, it's not going down. The word down is more of a curse word than the word shit. It is about perspectives and some things you cannot pull positivity from, like the word down. Do you get what I'm saying? It's all about your self-image. It's all about what you're putting in your mind. That is, if you want to get technical about it. I don't like using the word mourn in my daily routine. My family has dealt with enough. I'll pass. Whatever you think your truth is, it is, but you don't want to self-sabotage yourself. You need to reprogram that self-image. If you keep communicating to your inner success wave, it will eventually get the message. 3 things will tremendously help your inner success wave. That is done with a lot of authority, repeatedly over time, and intensity is the key to your inner success wave performing at its best. So, whether it be mama, cousin, brother, or sister steadily telling you something, it doesn't matter. You have to get rid of those negative thoughts by any means necessary and replace them with good ones. Some people just speak to them out loud. Some people send them to the universe. Some people write them down. Some people burn them. People do all types of things to be able to accept their truth. You have to love your truth. You have to know yourself. You have to know who you are. You cannot be iffy. The snapback effect will shift your truth back to you. You can try and stop drinking and/or try to stop smoking cigarettes. Try and drop off some weight for a little couple of measly months or whatever. But until you realize, until you put the work in, until you are humble and live in that humbleness and you are that wisdom, the snapback effect will come knocking at your door. Once you get good at training your imagination, it becomes habitual. The way you act, your behaviors, the way you feel, and the way you respond is habitual. You can be in a relationship. You notice if you've been in a relationship for a long time, that same habitual argument never changing is a sign of no growth. The positive is there too. You just must start throwing away those negative images. Habits, you can break and change. You will not grow from that because you're steadily living in the past. I've lost a lot of family members. I always think about my cousins. I think about my closest family members. I think about my grandma and great-grandma. I think about all of them, though I refuse to live in the past. I will not be doing that. Reflect as motivation as you head to the next goal. If you think about self-consciousness, it is other people's consciousness. Cause and effect within relationships. Give and receive. Whether it's positive or negative feedback from others on how we're doing. A smile, a laugh, a frown, a clue on how we are doing. Approval or disapproval. It takes 2 to tangle, therefore allowing some type of communication between 2 parties. It has been like that since the beginning of time. Don't hinder your self-confidence. Always ignore the negative things. The glass is always half full. If you can chew bubblegum and walk at the same time, you can do anything. You need to realize a lot of people's lives are phony as they look. If you could see behind the scenes, what they think or say would not count. Most of the time, people are not even thinking about you. Why did he say that? Why does he say it this way? Why did he say it that way? Why was she looking like that? Why was he looking like that? We always overthink the situation. We always put too much emphasis on it. If you think about it, that's another form of playing the victim because you are overthinking the process, overcomplicating the situation. That would lead to a form of frustration, anxiety, and envy of other people. You don't want to do that because that's the opposite of happiness. What you have to do is change those images. Like the worrying example. It is not hard to worry. It is not hard to worry about those bills at all. You'll be trying to kick them suckers out of your mind. That is how you do it effortlessly, altering the process by using positive imagery. One of the main things of all, what you think they may think about you, real or imagined, is far less important than what you think about yourself. It is not about what they think about you. Nowadays, everything is like a TV show. Instagram, Facebook, social media, and media in general. It's like a lot of people exaggerate their lifestyle about how they live or what they have. It is what it is. You just trust this process and utilize your inner success wave. What if your conscience is wrong? Well then, it's about your beliefs concerning right or wrong. Your consciousness is like the GPS. That's it. The GPS is going to let you know whether you're headed in the right or wrong direction. Just imagine if you were brought up as a youngin' in the hood on the block and you believe you should always walk against traffic due to the safety hazard. You know, it'll mess with your conscience if you don't walk towards traffic, so you can see what's going on. So if the stick-up kid or the police had a thought, they would have to put in an extra effort, and by that time, they should be exposed. It will scar you if you do not follow those personal rules, and that's coming from a guy that's from the hood. Me. A lot of us are brought up to believe in superstition. Like, if you walk in the path of a black cat, you will experience bad luck. If you believe you will be late, you will be late. If you believe you will cross a street pole and have bad luck, you will have bad luck. The reason is you will be thinking about it. It will be put on your conscience and you will give that goal to your inner success wave as the target. It's about the images that your mind holds because feelings are the soil that thoughts and ideas come from and are born. Your conscious job is to make you happy, not miserable. If you follow your conscience is already set up to follow your self-image. But if your self-image ain't right, then consciousness is wrong. A lot of people take a back seat in life because they were taught it's wrong to express good feelings, and that it's okay to express bad feelings. You know how kids are brought up? Expressing anger is the right thing. Being the norm and expressing too much happiness is unacceptable. One of the most popular examples, I would say, in my opinion, that's underrated is stage fright. This is the fear of being punished for speaking your mind on the truth about something. Just think, if you're on the stage, you're showing off. You can't just stand up and be extraordinary. You get in trouble for showing off or talking too much. Side note, on the flip side of things, does not be a tell-a-tale. Get your own life and mind your own business. Taught not to show off, so you don't want to show off throughout your life. You don't want to stand up, be different, and speak up on nothing. Boom, and you look up, you're old and worn out. That's stage fright at its finest. We must unlearn what we are taught. Then to top that, it's wrong and punishable. Yes, that is the truth. Stage fright is a good way that shows how the self-image can be hindered and held back. Now you're having doubts about what you wanted to be in life. If you wanted to speak out and have a different belief, you may feel like you will be judged. If you're a person that's too careful, try being less careful concerning whatever you got going on. Speak up. Speak louder than usual. Shouting always lets you express a little bit more of that creativity. Let go of a little bit of that inner wave verbally. Use about 15% of force, grunt more, and you'll put more power into it. You see Superman stick his chest out with his fist balled up on his waist. These are facts. Look them up. You stick that chest out. You put more power into a grunt. Put a little bass to your voice. I'm telling you, like Superman. Yeah, express yourself to others and let people know that you like them or what they're doing is cool if you like it. You know, you can be expressive. Ain't nothing wrong with that. We as a people need to network more. That being something beyond the scope of this book. Chapter 14. Transfer specific goals to your mind with ease. The power of imagination created the illusion that my vision went much farther than the naked eye could actually see. Nelson Mandela. You will need to start organizing your goals before they are properly transferred to your imagination. You may be adding people and things and/or building a Zoom room to strengthen yourself. You may be subtracting people, things, and/or emotions to make yourself stronger. Worrying affects the nervous system and overall dictates health. Now, let's talk about the outside environment moving you. Let's see what moves you. You say you are going to spend an hour exercising or reading, and as you begin to sit there, the doorbell rings. You're trained to already react without conscious effort. Imagine a phone rang. You have trained yourself year after year to answer. You don't have to respond. Here are some different viewpoints to put in your imagination. A. Imagine not answering the door out of habit. B. Imagine not answering the phone. Tell it, no more slave time, buddy. Let it ring. Wild hundreds. C. Unlearning certain things such as strangers is bad. If you still think like that, you need to start opening your mind to different perspectives other than the old standard. You have to be able to network, and you have to move around. Don't become a product of your environment and stay there and accept anything other than what you feel you deserve. You must unlearn that stranger crap immediately, and when I say your success depends on it, I mean it. D. Disconnect the imaginary alarm. Relaxation is nature's tranquilizer. Facts. This is the simplest way to give you this information. Take it the easy way or the hard way, but you have to take it. I'm putting it right in front of you. Be happy most of the time. Keep your heart rate at ease throughout your day. You don't want your heart fluctuating like that. When you see people speeding, that's frustration at its finest. I still speed, but I know better. When you know better, you do better. An unattained goal. That person had a late goal. They were trying to get somewhere. I will move out of their way. Let them get on. I'm not on no soft stuff. I understand self-image, and I understand what it is. It was a goal that they were trying to meet. Let them go. Hope he or she doesn't kill anybody on the way there. Listen to me. Without rushing, if you slow down, you can reach peak performance. You could be off the roof. AMT, Astro Money Team, man. Your performance would be off the roof without being tense. Just cool out. Take a chill pill here. The best and easiest way to eat an elephant is one bite at a time. Relax. Don't rush. Enjoy the moment. Enjoy the taste. Enjoy the wine and whatever you're drinking. Enjoy the juice. Enjoy the water. Enjoy the scenery. Some people use affirmations and some people use rituals. You can use a multitude of strategies to reset your thinking. You may call it escapism. Some people buy physical things like land and property to get away and escape. You can build yourself a honeycomb hideout in your mind. Call it the quiet room. You should not have to leave the house after an argument with your spouse or partner. Really should not be arguing anyways. Just like imagining you're home in bed, but you still have to drive 3 more hours before you get home. Instead of using your imagination carelessly, you will use it to benefit you. All of us need a certain amount of escapism, whether it be sleeping, under an umbrella, your house, where you live, or vacations. Do you know what I'm saying? Our mind needs a form of freedom just like our physical body needs to escape into a house. When you escape, just make sure your honeycomb hideout has all the amenities and everything you need. Make sure you got everything set up. Don't go to sleep with negative thoughts in your mind and always stay positive most of the time. Then you wonder why you had a so-called nightmare or had a bad dream. Well, an emotional layover episode is no different from an emotional episode you had with a family member last week. We're talking about general layover, and regardless is still the opposite of concentration. Layover usually happens when you are not concentrating on the right thing, which is uncontrolled energy and very dangerous energy. Yeah, that's bad. You have to clear your cookies. You have a browser that still needs to be cleared? Clear your mental cookies. It's like working from a spreadsheet. Outsource anything physical that's no biggie. Delegate at home and work more efficiently. Build a Zoom room and zoom your ass away from everybody to that space when your spider senses get to tingling. Clear your cookies before every use of the device, your thoughts. Don't give your mental computer a million things at one time and think everything is peaches and cream. For peak performance, it is best done one task at a time. not that multitasking bullcrap. Erase the browser. In other words, don't outrun your headlights. This process will get faster and faster once you get the hang of this. It is a must that you delete your cookies regularly. Chapter 15. Turn a crisis into an opportunity. If there is no struggle, there is no progress. Frederick Douglass. You must turn a crisis into a creative opportunity. When most people look at the word slick, it's looked at as if they are smart and said something clever. That's the point. It is clever when properly identified. You have to turn a crisis into a creative opportunity. The glass is never half empty. The glass is half full, or you own the ocean is how you should be looking at it. You get people that defeat themselves, going their entire life with a glass half empty mindset. You do not want to be overly motivated. You got to practice without pressure. You're trying to make it to what you need to focus on. Evaluate the super serious situation carefully. Don't turn molehills into mountains. I know you hear that, right? But the whole thing is you can't. It is because it's all about your self-image. You fighting yourself, and it's your story. It's your truth. Don't make every small challenge a matter of life and death. If you are, you tripping and you tweaking. Pressure retards learning, and a lot of people don't know the definition of retard. I've done heating and air conditioning for years now. You don't have to be in heating and air to know this, but when you're messing with wires, the insulation around them denoted by color usually retard the connectivity from leaving the inside. It has to retard. That's because it's insulated. It's insulated to help you. To retard something means to go against it. So, pressure retards too. You're learning. Remember, pressure retards your learning ability. When talking about trained behavior and what's on your mind and what image to change out, right? You have a lot of stuff that's there. You don't have to go deep to find it. Like ambulances, for example, sirens teach trained behavior. Another one is fire drills. They also teach crisis conduct in non-crisis situations. It teaches without pressure, and that's why you use similar but better strategies to attain goals. How to react by practicing without pressure. You will learn more efficiently and be able to perform better in a crisis. If something catastrophic was to happen, you would perform better because you practice enough. Even if you go for a job, right? It is not just about no fire drill. You need to be practicing in as many areas as possible needed to suit your comfortability. Any bells you hear, clocks charming in your community, and tasty aromas in the air, say Starbucks, they are all teaching trained behavior. Maybe down to the hour of certain imagery that is to be played in your head at that time. If you do not know what to do with your imagination, it is some corporation that does. You need to trust the process and have fun with the process also. If you go on an interview, practice that interview. Pull up the top 25 to 50 questions, and you can shadow box with the interviewer in your imagination, and you will know you got the job. It's going to come out 70% how you planned it. Guaranteed. You have to find some way to manipulate unwanted images out of your mind for good. What will you call it? Shadow boxing, connotations, or affirmations? You're designing a mental map, and your nervous system, your muscles, will allow you to perform better. Period. Point blank. Chapter 16. Missing the entire donkey when you pin the tail. The only limit to your impact is your imagination and commitment. Tony Robbins. Once you start practicing, staying positive and calm, your muscle memory will remember, and you will act as you should. You can only imagine it a gang of times, right? Of course, having to do anything tedious can be nerve-wracking, such as online customer service, being stuck in physical lines, being stuck in traffic, and so on. Help your situation by staying calm. There's nothing worse than trying to aim and hit a super tiny target. With a little practice, you will be great. I wrote a letter to the Barack administration when Barack Obama was president about a form of injustice. Now, me knowingly know that mindset is all from your imagination. If you feel as though there's a form of injustice, there is a form of injustice. It's because it's your story and it's your truth. Period. It was family related and personal. It was a form of injustice, but you can't stop there. I put out good thoughts with some action, then just let it go. You must keep it moving, okay? You can't escape your truth. Your energy signature will show. It will be A, B, or C. A, your excitement will come out positive. B, your excitement will come out negative. C, or it will come out mixed, and people go and think you have bipolar. You just have to balance it. At the end of the day, it is all on you, and it's your truth. When you run away from the problem, it will be reinforced. That excitement is neither good nor bad. It is just a perfectly charged card cable ready to do whatever you want it to do, whether it be negative or positive. Remember, the charge is not biased. Your inner success wave will listen to whatever directions you give it. Look at it as being an untapped cable charge that needs a goal. Don't be frustrated because you can't achieve a goal. Sit back, positively use that energy, and you will be all right. Don't be a drama king or queen. If you don't balance your inner wave, your creativity won't be used correctly. Sometimes you may bring too much excitement when it's not needed, and at other times not enough excitement. You have to become a master of your inner success wave. Don't be thrown off course for the smaller things. Everything to gain and nothing to lose attitude. You want to be fearless and have that what's the worst that can happen attitude. You have to be a go-getter. You got to get down. You got to be a grinder. Your years of mistakes won't mean anything after that one hit of success. You can mold what you want. First, there must be a goal. Chapter 17. Your imagination has to match your self-image. You become what you believe, not what you think or what you want. Oprah. It was for years at a time I would think and say, they're out to get me, man. Well, first of all, who are they? We believe that to your imagination, but they? Who are we talking about? I used to think people were pointing lasers through the windows at the top of the house. I thought the police or somebody was out to get me. I used to always think people were watching, and that was the reason I didn't like the big fancy windows. It is because I thought somebody was out to get me. At first, I was thinking I was about to get shot. Then I was thinking somebody's spying. It is all about the self-image and what you hold in it. If your inner wave is a lazy piece of crap equipment, which I highly doubt, it's because you made it that way, especially by having no goals to look forward to. You have to give it a goal. There must be something for it to go after, for something to happen. It needs direction. The thing about it, we remember things. We dread failure after failure. You're misusing your imagination. Your nervous system doesn't know the difference between a real failure or an imagined failure. You can't even play with yourself like that, but you are not taught how to use your imagination properly and how powerful it is. So we just use it carelessly. Your inner wave gets and reacts appropriately to the environment or the circumstances and situation. The only info available to those three is all that you believe to be true concerning images that you have implanted in your brain. Being in a zone, so to speak, is having a success-type inner wave. That's what you need. You always have to keep that I'm a winner feeling alive. Don't be that guy that feels like you don't want to make it, convinced of those beliefs. Imagination, coupled with a winning feeling, acts as a magic trick. Trust me. And if you don't want to trust me, trust the process. Don't be that other guy either, convinced you've never seemed to make it. I was just finally about to get on, man. I was just about to make it, man. I was right there. Get and keep the winning feel. The whole point of being alive is to evolve into the complete person you were intended to be. Oprah. Your inner way will make use of all that data your muscle memory stores. What are the signs of the winning feeling? Successful action patterns are stored for a repeat. Here's a good corrected error. I had a feeling. I had a feeling in my bones. True story. Whether you remember it or imagine it, it is a brain tissue recording of every successful attempt that you can recall at that moment. The crawl before you walk story is the true success process. Any successful memories that you can dig up, put into your arsenal, learn them, study them, and revive them. The sound. The day, the night was hot or cold. Summer, winter, spring, fall. Well, what was going on? Could you see breathing out your nose? Was it cold outside? You may need to recall that and play it out in your imagination. Once you play it out in your mind, it is a success in progress. You want to worry about a positive result, not a negative result. Put it on something positive instead of something negative. An example, you are on a block hustling and you saw somebody coming through the cut and you're like, hold on, I need 20 guns. I need 3 right here because if somebody come right here, I can make it to that spot. Another 5 over here, then I can make it to that spot. Another 4 right there. Then I can grab that. Then my other man's got that. I'm good. You planned it out. In other words, you vividly imagined your story. You planned a whole scene out. You played a movie out, and the best man that can imagine the furthest will win on the block. Whoever can imagine the best at the end of the day. That's my story. That's my truth. So if there was a need to worry, it should be on a positive note. Chapter 18. Overbelief in on particular things. The primary difference between a rich person and a poor person is how they manage fear. Robert Kiyosaki. What do you believe in? What are the images that you hold in your mind? Let me ask you this question. Are you younger than yourself or are you older than yourself from a physical standpoint? You judge the age. You know how the average 25-year-old looks, and you know how the average 35-year-old looks, and you know how the average 50-year-old looks. Be honest with yourself. What did or do you believe that may not be true about yourself? Physical stress adds to emotional stress. Wasting your energy will age you 10 times. Negative thoughts will age you 100 times. And is that much more powerful? You have to get on top of your game. Thoughts bring organic functional change. We have it so bad, we unconsciously expect to get old at a particular age. It's 2023. Think about it. The average person would look at 50, 60, or 75 years of age as being old. On the flip side, you have people that are making inventions at 70 and 80 years of age. Still out traveling the world, still able and agile. It's all about the mindset. What imagery does your mind hold? Cutting out all the activities, you will lose flexibility in your joints. You can't be doing that. You want to have and keep this life source. Do not give your inner success wave a fake goal to go after. Don't dwell on the fictitious. You want to get out. You want to do stuff. You want to keep that life force going. Exercise to get waste out of your body. You're getting waste out of your body. Drink the water. A lot of people say water is nasty. My mama even tells me water is nasty. She still drinks it from time to time because she knows it's needed. A lot of people don't like water. Okay, we'll put some lime, lemon, oranges, or any kind of fruit to give it the taste worth drinking. True story. You know, give it a little taste. Put key lime, alkaline in it. This helps to give your body the energy it needs to stay healthy. Ultimately, you need to enjoy the fountain of youth. That's what you're doing, man, because it's here. It's right in front of you. It's hidden in plain sight. Chapter 19. Looking forward to live, creating a need for more life. All men make mistakes, but a good man yields when he knows his course is wrong and repairs the evil. The only crime is pride. Sophocles, Antigone. Look forward to positive expectations and engagement in situations and the emotional reactions that came with them. Look forward to it. It brings more life. You can retire from the streets, but don't retire from life. That's insane. You should not judge people, but you can hold them accountable for their truth and actions. If someone is in your life, and especially if you know something about them, you should not judge them because of that thing, but hold them accountable. You have done stuff in your life that you may not consider positive, but you are not your mistakes. So there's no need to judge that person. To each their own. It's their truth until they change it. People do change and get better. Do you feel the universe is not worthy anymore? The people are not worthy enough? We are just selfish. We are made in that image, right? So therefore, we need more life. Everything is about life. Living more, out of life, swimming, dancing, laughing, traveling, being happy, joyful. Unity, abundance, the abundance of life, an abundance of creativity, an abundance of living, an abundance of smiles, an abundance of networking, an abundance of resources. We can keep going all day long. An abundance of being the prefix of your mindset is very optimistic and a good way to view life, in general and daily. Chapter 20. Your inner success wave works. Man up. Change before you have to. Jack Walsh. You will make amazing changes through some of these exercises in this book, and you must test your inner wave to know the truth. It's not the size of the idea, but the size of the opportunity that governs the results. It's time to re-engineer your thoughts and feelings. No need to let the past predict the future. Take control of any past childhood problems and adulthood, whether it's super bogus or something that you don't agree with. Take control of your personality. Don't blame your mom or dad for your lack of success and negative life problems. Mama, why ain't we got nothing like everybody else? I'm guilty of it because I held my mother accountable for things that she had no control over that happened in my life. One of them is college, right? No, I didn't care about college. But I would say stuff like, why we ain't got no college degree? It is about the self-images you hold in your mind. Why am I holding her accountable for that? Yeah, Mama, we ain't got no college degrees. I'm comparing myself with the apples to orange comparisons again. If you have never heard the phrase comparing apples to oranges, here's a definition. Apples to oranges comparison is used concerning two things that are fundamentally different and therefore not suited to comparison. Who am I comparing myself to? Another thing I blame my mom and dad for was just not having an abundance of. Was I comparing myself to them, it, him, or her? You need to say that particular name, title, group. If you don't know whom you are comparing yourself to, then you're in trouble. Forget outrunning your headlights. You are driving in the dark with no headlights. If I'm not saying they, then who am I comparing myself with? That does not give me the right to get on my mother's case about something that was going on generations before she was born. Things such as my mother's example can hinder you because they may not be considered vengeance, but it's still negative. It's a negative thought. You may be using it in the wrong manner. You're judging someone. Oh yeah, it's your fault. You are not holding them accountable. Because first, you have to hold yourself accountable. That's why I say hold them accountable. It's because first, you're going to hold yourself accountable. Once you hold yourself accountable, now you can hold them accountable. This is not a super trending topic for a reason, the power of belief. The truth is, you have muscle strength of the self-image that cannot be seen or medically evaluated. That's what you can change. Again, it is not medically evaluated. You will assume you can't do something, but your muscle memory and inner spirit may beg to differ. I mentioned this in the earlier chapter. Speak up. Put some bass in your voice. You can let something out. If you do physical activities, you can bring out additional strength. Constructive doing is what gets the results, not just things to think about. You have to not only think about it, but you have to do stuff. You have to act, Aries. That's why Aries get stuff done because they act. They may lack wisdom, but they act. When we start opening our minds, luxuries will start to show up. Even as little as learn to utilize your credit instead of risking all of your money. Understanding the basics of business credit. If you're not brought up in a financial literacy environment, there is no way possible you would know about that. On a physical note, don't wait until an organ nearly gives on you before you can change. Is losing your life worth a small pleasure? That's what the Virgo is for. to make sure the entire system is running properly. Practicality is a super good trait when balanced properly. Take their advice unless they're overdoing their part. Chapter 21. Don't let social media get the best of you. If you don't like something, change it. If you can't change it, change your attitude. Maya Angelou. This was recently on social media, ending 22 into 2023. It was someone that commented on the well-being of society. Another guy came in to supposedly correct the guy that originally made the post. Both guys came from the same background, but different viewpoints. One of the guys said, "I'm fighting crime." The other guy, with somewhat of an entrepreneurial background, said, "I'm stopping poverty," on the other guy's post. Both guys have a good point, and I'm sure their reasons are valid, though when it comes to reality, you changing a person is virtually impossible. That individual will have to look deep within their self-image. It is not as easy as a free meal at a church every Sunday. It is going to take time and discipline. You can't change them. They must change themselves. Love you, cousin. Watch whom you lend your imagination. One of my favorite examples is Grand Theft Auto Vision. You have this game that everybody and their mother has been buying for over a decade. It's not the only reason, but it's one of the main reasons that highly contributes and that still is contributing to active trends of theft all around the United States. This game is also played online across the globe. So, with that being said, you'll wonder why it's like Grand Theft Auto in 2023, right now. You have to utilize your imagination the right way. Trust the process. You don't know how electricity works, but I guarantee you reap the benefits of flicking that switch. You don't have to know how it works and the science behind it. Most of us can't break down everything about physiology, but we can surely reap the benefits as we invented it ourselves, 100s. It was a lady on Talk with Ted show that found a way to count the neurons in a human body. It was 86 billion neurons that were countable in a person. I did not say I agreed with everything the lady said, but an easy way was shown how they go about counting neurons is crazy fascinating. You go do your research. It's the information age. Believe it. A lot of youngins on IG, Instagram consider themselves legit bank robbers. Why would they say something like that? Simply because that is how plentiful the money is. You just have to know how and where to ask. If you believe there is no money, it isn't. If you believe wealth is abundant at your fingertips, it is. I was so eager to get the first draft of this book done. I hurt my wrist writing because I still do a lot of manual writing as ideas come over time. Calm down and pay attention. It could be simple, or it could be something big. You just watch being careless with things. Closing confession. I pace the floor of any bedroom I've lived in for the last 20 years. You have to be moving, whether it be physically or in your imagination, along with some action. Let's get it. Watch what you tell your vision, and let the television tell your vision. True story. You should not be making life-altering changes to your body to keep up with a trend. If you like to post on social media and don't want to get caught up in the moment all the time causing big distractions, schedule your posts. Most of the platforms offer a scheduling feature now. Chapter 22. Put out solid vibes. The two most important days of your life are the day you are born and the day you figure out why. Mark Twain. Also, the two most important questions in our lives are as important as the two most important days of our life. What kind of person are you right now? What kind of person do you imagine yourself to be? When you imagine vividly, it becomes solid, and manifesting your reality becomes inevitable. Where do you want to live? Will you own a house or many? Will you have many investments? What you truly want should be vividly played out in the imagination down to the smallest detail. What color are the rugs throughout your future house? What color do you want the rocks that sit under the nightlight in the pond? How many rooms do you plan on having in your future house? You may want to live on the water. That's your thing. One thing for sure, and two things for certain. Mental rehearsal are needed in several areas of your life. If you were to imagine a future you, How would you act? How would you look and feel? Plan on ever traveling? Imagine real deep. Over a period of weeks and months to get you started, you will be a pro in no time. Believe me, time flies, especially when you're looking forward to something. If you don't want to try any of the prior exercises, why not? How does the world owe you anything when you have never taken the time or energy to help yourself? The new trend for the younger generation is called backdooring. If you backdooring, let's just say that's the level of your imagination. Period, point, blank. Don't base every decision you make on what you have in your pocket. You will skimp and half-ass every decision you make. You may not have exactly what you want, but keep it moving and you will get close. If there's something in your life that's worth it, meaning that event or situation, don't go play lottery tickets because you think that you know where your luck is at. Put that action to work in the right area. Go play it when you want to. But I'm just saying, playing off impulse without some type of game plan is a bad idea. Everyone gets distracted for a slight second. It's cool. It's all right. Don't allow the smaller reality to take over your entire reality, though. Go after it with your all and a sincere attitude. We still must stay in tune with life. Be in the moment. Enjoy the taste, the smell, the sensations, and the air in general. What about the other stuff, though? The physical stuff. You still want to know how to travel? At least drive a car. What about knowing how to write a letter? You should know how to put a stamp on an envelope, then put the sender's name in the correct spot. Some of the old normal stuff will never go outdated, such as the old way of communicating, which is writing a letter. You should know some of these things. You don't have to know how to write in cursive, but you should know how to read it. You have to keep your hands on the prize. Keep it moving. Always stay learning. Higher learning. Everyone is put here to be used, as long as you don't misuse people. Side note, a lot of people pay attention to the moon. You better be talking positivity and the manifestation along with applying action. If you follow a trend, be one of the best at it. Imagination will often carry us to worlds that never were, but without it, we go nowhere. Carl Sagan. Don't judge the man in the mirror. Hold him accountable. David L. Hawkins. Glossary. Accomplished. Highly trained or skilled. An accomplished pianist. Accountable. Of a person, organization, or institution. Required or expected to justify action or decision. Responsible. Adequate. Satisfactory or acceptable in quality or quantity. Adulthood. The state or condition of being fully grown or mature. Advance. Move forward purposefully. Adversities. Difficulties. Misfortune. Affect. Affect on. Make a difference to. Affirmations. The action or process of affirming something or being affirmed. Agitated. Feeling or appearing troubled or nervous. Algorithm. A process or set of rules to be followed in calculations or other problem-solving operations, especially by a computer. Alley. A narrow passageway between or behind buildings. Alter ego. A person's secondary or alternative personality. Analyze. Examine methodically and in detail the constitution or structure of something, especially information, typically for purposes of explanation and interpretation. Angry. Feeling or showing strong annoyance, displeasure, or hostility, full of anger. Anxious. Experiencing worry, unease, or nervousness, typically about an immediate event or something with an uncertain outcome. Appreciation. Recognition and enjoyment of the good qualities of someone or something. Argument. An exchange of diverging or opposite views, typically a heated or angry one. Artificial. made or produced by human beings rather than occurring naturally, especially as a copy of something natural. Ashamed, embarrassed or guilty because of one's actions, characteristics, or associations. Asset, a useful or valuable thing, person, or quality. Astrology, the study of the movements and relative positions of celestial bodies interpreted as having an influence on human affairs in the natural world. Authorized user. An authorized user is someone who has been added to a credit card account by the card's owner, also known as the primary cardholder. Backdooring, to go behind someone's back and betray them. Bad dream, a dream that is scary or upsetting, a nightmare. Bad luck, informal used to express sympathy or commiserations. Balance, an even distribution of weight enabling someone or something to remain upright and steady. Behavior, how one acts or conducts oneself, especially towards others. Belief, an acceptance that a statement is true or that something exists. Believe, accept something as true, feel sure of the truth of. Beneficial, favorable or advantageous, resulting in good. Biased, unfairly prejudiced for or against someone or something. Boundaries, a line that marks the limits of an area, a dividing line. Build, construct something by putting parts or materials together. Business plan, a document setting out a business's future objectives and strategies for achieving them. Calm, not showing or feeling nervousness, anger, or other strong emotions. Capable, capable of doing something, having the ability, fitness, or quality necessary to do or achieve a specified thing. Capital, the most important city or town of a country or region, usually its seat of government and administrative center. Carbon dioxide, a colorless, odorless gas produced by burning carbon and organic compounds and by respiration. It is naturally present in the air, about 0.03%, and is absorbed by plants in photosynthesis. Catastrophic, involving or causing sudden great damage or suffering. Challenge, a call to take part in a contest or competition, especially a duel. Change, make someone or something different, alter or modify. Chemicals, relating to chemistry or the interactions of substances as studied in chemistry. Chicago, a city in northeastern Illinois on Lake Michigan, population 2,853,114, estimated 2008. Chicago developed during the 19th century as a major grain market and food processing center. Childhood, the state of being a child. Commitment, the state or quality of being dedicated to a cause, activity, etc. Communicate, share or exchange information, news, or ideas. Community, a group of people living in the same place or having a particular characteristic in common. Commute, travel some distance between one's home and place of work regularly. Complications, a circumstance that complicates something, a difficulty. Confidence, the feeling or belief that one can rely on someone or something firm, trust. Conscious, knowing something, aware. Consciousness, the state of being awake and aware of one's surroundings. Cook County, a county in northeastern Illinois that includes Chicago and most of its closer suburbs. Course correction, to correct something along the way. Crave, feel a powerful desire for something. Creativity, the use of the imagination or original ideas, especially in the production of an artistic work. Credit, the ability of a customer to obtain goods or services before payment based on the trust that payment will be made in the future. Credit Bureau, a company that collects information relating to the credit ratings of individuals and makes it available to credit card companies, financial institutions, etc. Credit limit, a credit limit is the maximum amount of credit that a financial institution or lenders will extend to a debtor for a particular line of credit, sometimes called a credit line, line of credit, or a trade line. Credit score, A credit score is a numerical expression based on level analysis of a person's credit files to represent the credit worthiness of an individual. Crisis, a time of intense difficulty, trouble, or danger. Routines, a sequence of actions regularly followed, a fixed program. Debit, an entry recording an amount owed, listed on the left-hand side or column of an account. Decisions, a conclusion or resolution reached after consideration. Defense, the action of defending from or resisting an attack. Hypnotize, produce a state of hypnosis in someone. Delegate, a person sent or authorized to represent others, in particular, an elected representative sent to a conference. Desire, a strong feeling of wanting to have something or wishing for something to happen. Destination, the place to which someone or something is going or being sent. Destroy, put an end to the existence of something by damaging or attacking it. Diminish, make or become less. Discovery, the action or process of discovering or being discovered. Discriminated, make an unjust or prejudicial distinction in the treatment of different categories of people, especially on the grounds of ethnicity, sex, age, or disability. Disease, a disorder of structure or function in a human, animal, or plant, especially one that produces specific signs or symptoms, or that affects a specific location, and is not simply a direct result of physical injury. Doubt, a feeling of uncertainty or lack of conviction. Dream, a series of thoughts, images, and sensations occurring in a person's mind during sleep. Eager, of a person, wanting to do or have something very much earned. Income, for the year you are filing, earned income includes all income from employment, but only if it is included in gross income. Effect, a change that is a result or consequence of an action or other cause. Efficient, especially of a system or machine. Achieving maximum productivity with minimum wasted effort or expense. Ego, a person's sense of self-esteem or self-importance. Elevate, raise or lift something up to a higher position, raise to a more important or impressive level. Embrace, hold someone closely in one's arms, especially as a sign of affection. Emotion, a natural instinctive state of mind deriving from one's circumstance, mood, or relationship with others. Emotional, relating to a person's emotions. Emotional intelligence, the capacity to be aware of, control, and express one's emotions, and to handle interpersonal relationships judiciously and empathetically. Emotional scar, a feeling of great emotional pain or sadness that is caused by a bad experience and that lasts for a long time. Emotional support. Emotional support is showing care and compassion for another person. It can be verbal or nonverbal. Emphasis, special importance, value, or prominence given to something. Emphasize, give special importance or prominence to something in speaking or writing. Emulate, match or surpass a person or achievement, typically by imitation. Encouragement, the act of giving someone support, confidence, or hope. Enemy, a person who is actively opposed or hostile to someone or something. Engagement, an arrangement to do something or go somewhere at a fixed time. Entrepreneurship, the activity of setting up a business or businesses, taking on financial risk in the hope of a profit. Environment, the surroundings or conditions in which a person, animal, or plant lives or operates. Equifax, Equifax is one of 3 national credit bureaus. These companies collect information about your credit history, such as how many credit cards you have, how much money you owe, and how you pay your bills. Error, a long and distinct period of history with a particular feature or characteristic. Escapism, the tendency to seek distraction and relief from unpleasant realities, especially by seeking entertainment or engaging in fantasy. Example, a thing characteristic of its kind or illustrating a general rule. Excessive, more than is necessary, normal, or desirable. Immoderate. Expenses, the cost required for something, the money spent on something. Experian, Experian is a multinational data analytics and consumer credit reporting company. Experience, practical contact with or observation of facts or events. Expression, the process of making known one's thoughts or feelings. Faulty, working badly or unreliably because of imperfections. Fear, an unpleasant emotion caused by the belief that someone or something is dangerous, likely to cause pain or a threat. Fearless, lacking fear. Fertilizing, cause an egg, female animal, or plant to develop a new individual by introducing male reproductive material. Financial literacy. Financial literacy is the knowledge of how to make smart decisions with money. Flaw, a mark, fault, or other imperfections that mars a substance or object. Flawless, without any blemishes or imperfections. Perfect. Forgiveness, the action or process of forgiving or being forgiven. Fortunate, favored by or involving good luck or fortune, lucky. Frustration, the feeling of being upset or annoyed, especially because of the inability to change or achieve something. Future, usually the future, the time, or a period following the movement of speaking or writing, time regarded as still to come. Gangways, a raised platform or walkway providing a passage. Generations, all the people born and living at about the same time, regarded collectively. Genius, exceptional intellectual or creative power or other natural ability. Goal, the object of a person's ambition or effort, an aim or desired result. Great, of an extent, amount, or intensity considerably above the normal or average. Greatness, the quality of being great, distinguished, or eminent. Guidance, advice or information aimed at resolving a problem or difficulty, especially as given by someone in authority. Guilt, the fact of having committed a specified or implied offense or crime. Gullible, easy persuaded to believe something. Credulous. Gun violence. Gun violence includes homicide, violent crime, attempted suicide, suicide, or unintentional death and injury. Habit, a settled or regular tendency or practice, especially one that is hard to give up. Habitual, done or doing constantly or as a habit. Half empty, used to refer to an attitude or always thinking about the bad things in a situation rather than the good ones. Half full, a person views the situation optimistically or hopefully. Hangover, a severe headache or other after effects caused by drinking an excess of alcohol. Happy, feeling or showing pleasure or contentment. Healthy, in good health. High-speed chase, a situation when the police drive very fast to try to catch someone in a car. Hinder, create difficulties for someone or something, resulting in delay or obstruction. Hoodbound, unable to leave the hood. Humble, having or showing a modest or low esteem of one's importance. Hypothetically, by imagining a possible rather than reality as a hypothesis. Imaginative, having or showing creativity or inventiveness. Impulse, a sudden strong and unreflective urge or desire to act. Indulge, allow oneself to enjoy the pleasure of. Ineffective, not producing any significant or desired effect. Inferiority, the condition of being lower in status or quality than another or others. Ingenuity, the quality of being clever, original, and inventive. Injustice, lack of fairness or justice. Inner success, the sense of fulfillment and satisfaction that you experience in your personal life. Insurance, a practice or arrangement by which a company or government agency provides a guarantee of compensation for specified loss, damage, illness, or death in return for payment of a premium. Intermediate, coming between two things in time, place, order, character, etc. Invest, expend money with the expectation of achieving a profit or material result by putting it into financial plans, shares, or property, or by using it to develop a commercial venture. Investments, the action or process of investing money for profit or material result. IRS, Internal Revenue Service. Karate, an unarmed combat using the hands and feet to deliver and block blows, widely practiced as a sport. Lazy, unwilling to work or use energy. Leader, the person who leads or commands a group, organization, or country. Leadership, the action of leading a group of people or an organization. Legitimate, conforming to the law or rules. Leisure, use of free time for enjoyment. Leverage, the exertion of force using a lever or an object used in the manner of a lever. Liabilities, the state of being responsible for something, especially by law. Life, the condition that distinguishes animals and plants from inorganic matter, including the capacity for growth, reproduction, functional activity, and continual change preceding death. Lifestyle, how a person or group lives. Liquor, alcoholic drink, especially distilled spirits. Logical, of or according to the rules of logic or formal argument. Luxury, the state of great comfort and extravagant living. Manifestation, an event, action, or object that clearly shows or embodies something, especially a theory or an abstract idea. Manipulate, handle or control, a tool, mechanism, etc., typically in a skillful manner. Marketing, the action or business of promoting and selling products or services, including market research and advertising. Masterpiece, a work of outstanding artistry, skill, or workmanship. Memories, the faculty by which the mind stores and remembers information. Mental, relating to the mind. Misery, a state or feeling of great distress or discomfort of mind or body. Mistreated, treat a person or animal badly, cruelly, or unfairly. Monetary gains, the gain in purchasing power that is derived from holding monetary assets and/or monetary liabilities during a period of changing prices. Motivated, provide someone with a motive for doing something. Multitask, of a person, deals with more than one task at the same time. Mumble, say something indistinctly and quietly, making it difficult for others to hear. Muscle memory, the ability to reproduce a particular movement without conscious thought, acquired as a result of frequent repetition of that movement. Nature, the phenomena of the physical world collectively, including plants, animals, the landscapes, and other features and products of the earth, as opposed to humans or human creations. Negative, expressing or implying denial, disagreement, or refusal. Negotiation, discussion aimed at reaching an agreement. Neighborhood, a district, especially one forming a community within a town or sea. Nervous system, the network of nerve cells and fibers that transmits nerve impulses between parts of the body. Neurons, a specialized cell transmitting nerve impulses, a nerve cell. Nightmare, a frightening or unpleasant dream. Non-productive, not producing or able to produce goods, crops, or economic benefit, tending to be less forceful in meaning than unproductive. Obstacles, a thing that blocks one's way or prevents or hinders progress. Offense, a breach of a law or rule, an illegal act. Opponent, someone who competes against or fights another in a contest, game, or argument. A rival or adversary. Opposite, having a positive on the other or further side of something, facing something, especially something of the same type. Optimistic, hopeful and confident about the future. Organize, arrange into a structured whole, order. Ounce, abbreviation Oz, a unit of weight of 1/16 of a pound, of or du poids, approximately 28 grams. Outsource, obtain goods or service from an outside or foreign supplier, especially in place of an internal source. Overcomplicate, make something more complicated than necessary. Oxygen, a colorless, odorless reactive gas, the chemical element of atom number 8, and the life-supporting component of the air. Pass, gone by in time and no longer exists. Personal, of, affecting, or belonging to a particular person rather than anyone else. Perspectives, a particular attitude toward or way of regarding something, a point of view. Police, the civil force of a national or local government responsible for the prevention and detection of crime and the maintenance of public order. Positive, consistent of in or characterized by the presence or possession of features or qualities rather than their absence. Powerful, having great power or strength. Predict, say or estimate that a specified thing will happen in the future or will be a consequence of something. Present, fully focused on or involved in what one is doing or experiencing. Pressure, continuous physical force exerted on or against an object by something in contact with it. Process, a series of actions or steps taken to achieve a particular end. Punish, inflict a penalty or sanction on someone as retribution for an offense, especially a transgression of a legal or moral code. Raid, a sudden attack on an enemy by troops, aircraft, or other armed forces in warfare. Rational thinking, the ability to consider the relevant variables of a situation and to access, organize, and analyze relevant information, e.g., facts, opinions, judgment, and data, to arrive at a sound conclusion. Reality, the idea or the state of things as they exist, as opposed to an idealistic or notional idea of them. Recreational, relating to or denoting activity done for enjoyment when one is not working. Reflect, a surface or body throwback, heat, light, or sound without absorbing it. Reinforce, strengthen, an existing feeling, idea, or habit. Relationship, how two or more concepts, objects, or people are connected, or the state of being connected. Relax, make or become less tense or anxious. Relaxation, the state of being free from tension and anxiety. Remorse, deep regret or guilt for a wrong committed. Resentment, bitter indignation at having been treated unfairly. Responsibility, the state or fact of having a duty to deal with something or of having control over someone. Revaluate, form an idea of the amount, number, or value of. Assess. Reverse, move backward. Role model, a person looked to be by others as an example to be imitated. Sabotage, deliberately destroy, damage, or obstruct something, especially for political or military advantage. Sears Tower, the Willis Tower, originally the Sears Tower, is a 110-story, 1,451-foot, 442.3-meter skyscraper in the Loop community area of Chicago and Illinois, United States. Second nature, a characteristic or habit in someone that appears to be instinctive because that person has behaved in a particular way so often. Self-acceptance, an individual's acceptance of all their attributes, positive or negative. Self-destruct, destroy itself by exploding or disintegrating, automatically, having been preset to do so. Self-esteem, confidence in one's worth or abilities, self-respect, self-image, the idea one has of one's abilities, appearance, and personality. Self-inflicted, of a wound or other harm inflicted on oneself. Self-limiting beliefs, self-defeating thoughts are any negative views you hold about yourself and the world around you. Self-sabotage, the term self-sabotage is used when this destructive behavior is directed at yourself. Shadowbox, spar with an imaginary opponent as a form of training. Shame, a pain, feeling of humiliation or distress caused by the consciousness of wrong or foolish behavior. Shenanigans, secret or dishonest activity or maneuvering. Simplistic, treating complex issues and problems as if they were much more simpler than they really are. Situation, a set of circumstances in which one finds oneself, a state of affairs. Skedaddle, depart quickly or hurriedly, run away. Skill, the ability to do something well, expertise. Solid, firm and stable in shape, not liquid or fluid. Spiritual, relating to or affecting the human spirit or soul as opposed to material or physical things. Statistics, the practice or science of collecting and analyzing numerical data in large quantities. Strategy, a plan of action or policy designed to achieve a major or overall aim. Strength, the quality or state of being physically strong. Stress, pressure or tension exerted on a material object. Struggling, striving to achieve or attain something in the face of difficulty or resistance. Subconsciously, in a way that is influenced by the part of the mind of which one is not fully aware. Success, the accomplishment of an aim or purpose. Survival, the state or fact of continuing to live or exist, typically despite an accident, ordeal, or difficult circumstances. Tactics, an action or strategy carefully planned to achieve a specific end. Threat, a statement of an intention to inflict pain, injury, damage, or other hostile action on someone in retribution for something done or not done. Timeshare, an arrangement whereby several joint owners have the right to use a property as a vacation home under a time-sharing agreement. Tolerate, allow the existence, occurrence, or practice of something that one does not necessarily like or agree with without interference. Trade lines, a record of activity for any type of credit extended to a borrower and reported to a credit reporting agency. Tranquilized, a drug has a calming or sedative effect on. Transparent, of a material article allowing light to pass through so that objects behind can be distinctly seen. TransUnion, an American consumer credit reporting agency. Tribute, an act, statement, or gift that is intended to show gratitude, respect, or admiration. Trust, firm belief in the reliability, truth, ability, or strength of someone or something. Truth, the quality or state of being true. Tweaking, become or cause to become agitated or excited, typically from taking amphetamines or another stimulant. Unacceptable, not satisfactory or allowable. Understand, interpret or view something in a particular way. Undesirable, not wanted or desirable because harmful, objectionable, or unpleasant. Unimaginable, difficult or impossible to imagine or comprehend. Utilize, make practical and effective use of. Vengeance, punishment inflicted or retribution exacted for an injury or a wrong. Vigilant, keeping careful watch for possible danger or difficulties. Vivid, producing powerful feelings or strong, clear images in the mind. Weakness, the state or condition of lacking strength. Wealthy, having a great deal of money, resources, or assets. Rich. Weapon, a thing designed or used for inflicting bodily harm or physical damage. Wicked, evil or morally wrong. Willpower, control exerted to do something or restrain impulses. Wisdom, the quality of having experience, knowledge, and good judgment, the quality of being wise. Worthy, having or showing the qualities or abilities that merit recognition in a specified way. Financial literacy words. 1. Assets, anything you own that has value and can be sold for cash. 2. Balance sheet, a financial statement that shows a company's assets, liabilities, and equity at a specific point in time. 3. Bond, a type of investment where you lend money to a company or government and they pay you back with interest. 4. Budget, a plan for how you will spend your money. 5. Capital, money or other resources used to create wealth. 6. Compound interest, interest that is calculated not only on the initial investment, but also on the interest earned over time. 7. Credit, the ability to borrow money or buy goods and services now with the promise to pay later. 8. Debt, money owed to someone. 9. Deductible, the amount you pay out of pocket before insurance coverage begins. 10. Dividend, a payment made to shareholders from a company's profits. 11. Equity, the value of an asset minus any liabilities attached to it. 12. Expense, money spent on goods or service. 13. Financial plan, a roadmap to help you achieve your financial goals. 14. Gross income, the total amount of money you earn before taxes and other deductions. 15. Inflation, the rate at which the general level of prices for goods and services is rising. 16. Interest, the cost of borrowing money. 17. Investment, the act of putting money into something with the expectation of a return. 18. IRA, individual retirement account, a tax-advantaged account for retirement savings. 19. Liability, an obligation to pay money or do something. 20. Liquidity, the ability to convert an asset into cash quickly. 21. Net worth, the difference between your assets and liabilities. 22. Opportunity cost, the cost of giving up one thing for another. 23. Portfolio, a collection of investments owned by an individual or organization. 24. Principal, the initial amount of money invested or borrowed. 25. Profit, the amount of money left over after all expenses have been paid. 26. Real estate, property consisting of land and buildings. 27. Return on investment, the amount of money earned or lost on an investment relative to the amount invested. 28. Risk, the chance that an investment may lose value or fail to achieve its expected return. 29. Savings account, a bank account that pays interest on the balance. 30. Share, a unit of ownership in a company. 31. Stock, a type of investment that represents ownership in a company. 32. Tax deduction, an expense that can be subtracted from taxable income. 33. Taxable income, the amount of income that is subject to taxation. 34. Term life insurance, life insurance that provides coverage for a specific period of time. 35. Time value of money, the idea that money is worth more now than in the future. 36. Treasury bond, a type of government bond that pays interest and is considered a safe investment. 37. Underwriting, the process of evaluating a borrower's eligibility for a loan or insurance policy. 38. Variable interest rate, an interest rate that can change over time. 39. Wealth, the total value of all assets owned by an individual or organization. 40. Yield, the percentage return on investment